Welcome to the USL Championship playoffs presented by Hisense. Lynn Family Stadium in Louisville opens its doors for the #1 seed to host 5th-seeded Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Tonight's game is presented by Toyota and the Kentuckiana Toyota dealers. Let's go places. A look at the bracket. San Antonio 3-0 over Oakland. Colorado Springs and Sacramento playing later tonight in the West. Memphis and Tampa Bay has been postponed until tomorrow. Pittsburgh did have to play last Sunday. Real tight turnaround for them tonight. They knock off Birmingham, a team that didn't get their chance to face the Riverhounds last year in the playoffs. The conference quarterfinal goes to penalties after the heroics of Edward Kizza. Jamali Waite comes up big, and Pittsburgh advances into this matchup, the only upset in the East. And Dev, Louisville, just because they're facing a 5 instead of a 4, don't feel any better about this. This is a historic year.
Still the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and because of the parity in the USL Championship, it's a little bit quieter in terms of the noise that they made. But yes, all club records, wins, clean sheets, points, goal differential, home record. But to me, it's the systematic change that Danny Cruz has made down the stretch. He's moved away from his traditional 4-3-3 into a 3-back, and to break that down, let's go ahead of the curve. As you jump into the 4-3-3, Louisville exercise a lot of predetermined combinations, which allow them to play through or penetrate the opponent's defense to create high-value opportunities, both from the front three and the trailing two attacking mids. Best utilized right here against Memphis. 5-man front, all attacking in one direction together. They change a little bit when you go into a 3-back. There's a greater emphasis creating situations in which the wide attackers, they're isolated against the fullbacks. Positionally, there's a lot more rotation, but it's a plethora of options moving forward. 7 different players on this move against RGB, which leads to a goal.
And so Louisville tonight playing in a 3-back. A lot of injuries. We'll tell you about it on the other side of the break. The Eastern Conference semifinal. It's Pittsburgh and Louisville meeting again. Lineups kick off when we return after these messages and a word from your local station.
With over 50 million sold worldwide, what does Toyota Corolla do for an Encore? It evolves to become more powerful, more connected, and safer. It becomes more efficient with an available 52 MPG hybrid. And now it becomes more versatile and capable of taking your adventures even further. The new Corolla Cross with available all-wheel drive. The first ever Corolla SUV. Toyota. Let's go places.
Well, I was hurt in a wreck, I didn't know where to go, and all I had to do was call Hessican Poe. 777-1111, 777-1111, call Hessican Poe, you'll be glad you did.
When the Thompsons first bought their house, all they saw was their dream home. They didn't yet know that with a home equity line of credit from Commonwealth Credit Union, it would be their keys to epic cannonballs and the chance to see the world. As years went by, it allowed them to empower the next generation and make happily ever after come true. Which begs the question, what could your home be doing for you? Let's find out together. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
The explosion of pads on a massive hit. Oh, and he's crushed. The roar of Card Nation after a game-winning touchdown. Moments and memories you can only describe by being there.
Well, I was hurt in a wreck, I didn't know where to go, and all I had to do was call Hessican Poe. 777-1111, 777-1111, call Hessican Poe, you'll be glad you did.
We're heading into all-wheel drive season, and nobody has more to choose from than Toyota.
That's why we're back in the aggressively styled Toyota Highlander.
The Highlander can handle whatever comes your way.
It's got room for 8, connectivity for all your devices. No wonder it's the best-selling SUV in its class.
Highlander all-wheel drive can even come with an electrified hybrid powertrain.
Now, during Toyota's fall savings season, you can save thousands in fuel costs on an electrified Highlander hybrid.
Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Toyota. Let's go places.
Tonight's starting lineups are presented by Craft House Pizza. For Louisville, no Omby, no Morton.
No, but with switching into the three-back, it does give you some versatility because both Manny Perez and Amadou Dia can drop onto this back line. Sharpie, familiar with the outside back spot as well. So as you move forward, the idea Serrano can pinch underneath. It's all about rotation, creating strength and numbers as you go forward. But I want to focus on the Commonwealth Credit Union player to watch in Amadou Dia because of how impressive he's been at the outside back spot. Advancing him up onto the pitch. 8 assists, leads all defenders in the USL Championship. Heavy roll on the right side against Alex Dixon tonight. Let's take a look at the Hounds. It is a 3 of sorts. What you will see a lot on this left-hand side is Danny Rivera plays deep. Alex Dixon comes higher. The 1-2 battle with Amadou Dia, but you got to watch the inside. Robbie Mertz, his tendency is to pinch off to the right in front of Griffin and Forbes. Griffin comes deep, but this is really a 3-man trio within the midfield that controls the entire tempo for this team, especially on the road.
Eligio Araguin, the opening whistle. Here we go in this Eastern Conference semifinal for the 3rd time in 4 years. Louisville and Pittsburgh win or go home. Hard not to be excited about this matchup. Perhaps written in the stars. Last year, Pittsburgh ousted before they had the chance to feature in the playoffs. A COVID outbreak within the team. Neither they nor Birmingham were happy with the outcome. Nevertheless, Pittsburgh coming off a penalty shootout victory over Birmingham on the road on Sunday. 5 days rest for Louisville. They've been off with the bye week since October 15th. They've played only once since October 5th. Perez, away by Williams. Five corner for Louisville City. Set pieces, both coaches talk quite a bit about it.
You got to be strong. I mean, you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get in a game in general, yet alone in postseason play. Things are tense. The game can tighten up.
Del Piccolo caught by Jamali Waite, who took over in the Open Cup against FC Cincinnati and never gave the job back.
He's been impressive, so much so that he's been called into the senior men's national team for the Reggae Boys in Jamaica. Earned that honor for sure. Love him too. He's really grown as a player as the season has gone on. This is an area that if you play under Bob Lilly, you know that you're automatically going to be a level up because of the guys that he assembles in front of you. But he puts so much emphasis on communication because of the amount of rotation you see within the system, Mike. And especially on this team this year, so many times he's changed systems within a game. I mean, the running joke between managers coming in is, well, let's see, he only played 4 or 5 systems last game. And that's notorious for Bob Lilly throughout the season. But to change that many times and have such a consistent goalkeeper behind, very impressive from the young man, Jamali Waite.
Well, and you see 11 in yellow, Kenardo Forbes. He is perhaps the perfect conduit for Bob Lilly on the field. He'll often put a number of fingers out to Kenardo Forbes, and it's up to him to inform the other 10 on the field what's going on, especially when it gets loud. Wilson Harris, a phenomenal season. End line. And that attack ends. Mushagalusa to ground. Danny Rivera. Trying to slip through Cicerone. Tosh. Danny Fondes drives it away. Kyle Morton dealing with a muscular injury, unavailable tonight. Parker Siegfried's the backup. Mushagalusa on the run. Mushagalusa cuts! He had a go at it and finally stymied. Danny Griffin covered a lot of ground to help out. Gibson. Winder. Mushagalusa.
That's the biggest change that I was talking about coming in. You'll see a lot of these guys pop up in different positions. As the numbers come forward, higher line, you'll see the Hound sit, but Mushagalusa, he'll rotate over the right. Serrano comes underneath. Even Wilson Harris, he's gotten a lot more comfortable as they've moved into this wing-back offense coming forward, where he pops into different locations. Central is usually the location for their number 9 in Wilson Harris. going forth, Amadou Dia getting comfortable on the left, Musha Galusa on the right, in the middle. My favorite within the tweak has got to be the advancement in roles of both Paulo Del Piccolo and Ray Serrano, especially the youngster in Serrano. Very active within this system for Danny Cruz.
Pinballs around. Dequa couldn't hold on to it. Taken back through Danny Griffin. And now Harris. And back to Fondez. Commonwealth Credit Union has been bettering lives of the communities they serve since 1951. To learn more, visit WeSeeYouDifferently.com. Musha Galusa right up to Waite. Louisville down some significant players tonight. Brian Omby and Kyle Morton are outside the 18. Danny Fondez won a ring last year, but he didn't play in a single game for Orange County. He started 5 times this year, including the finale against Hartford. And now, Devin, he's playing in the biggest game of his life.
6 overall, the one off the bench. He's only got 4 goals against, 2 clean sheets to his name. He's been very impressive, Danny Fondez. It's kind of one of those things where you just hop him in, and hope that he doesn't make a mistake. Guess what? Been basically perfect. And it's not that everybody in front of him has been really clean. He's had to step up. But the loss of Kyle Morton, the Golden Glove winner in the USL Championship this season, lowest goals against average, used the goalkeeper, Niall McCabe. That's a tremendous blow that they experienced early on. And then, of course, Cameron Lancaster, Jorge Gonzalez, Ian Soler most recently. And they are the walking wounded. This team, who prides themselves on the quality of talent and depth, really only has one portion of that argument. This game continues to go on, and the issue is in doubt. It could get real scary for the home squad.
Fondez to drive this away. Typically, this right side would be Brian Omby's play space. No playoff Omby, so Musha Galusa playing quite a bit on the right here at the outset. Touched away by Serrano and through and offside. Gives us a chance to take a look at tonight's weather report. It's presented by Advanced ENT and Allergy. And, you know, Halloween weekend, this is more or less what you're looking forward to. Memphis didn't get this kind of weather. They had to postpone their match with Tampa Bay tonight.
The hope is that tomorrow at 4, things are a little different.
Yeah.
The hope.
Hope.
It's the hope that kills you. What are you being for Halloween, by the way?
An overpaid broadcaster like Joe Buck.
There you go.
As he said last week.
I thought maybe it was some sort of lumberjack with this bearded flannel thing we got going on. I love it, by the way.
I walked in and someone said to me, what is this, LL Bean catalog?
Oh, you started modeling in my absence. Well done, good sir. You don't see each other for a week and all of a sudden the world's on its head.
It sure is. Sharpie rolls over to Tosh. This is a good pondering outfit, which is sort of what this game is going to be. 2 coaches stroking their facial hair. Money! Williams rolls it ahead. Cicerone. This is going to get out. How about we take a look at tonight's keys to the game, brought to you by the Bobby Pinkston team at RE/MAX Premier Properties. Score the home of your dreams with the Pinkston team.
You got to trust the manager if you're with Louisville City because of the change systematically, all the injuries. Believe in what Danny Cruz is trying to preach to you and score early. You cannot allow this game to continue to drag out. That's where Pittsburgh Riverhounds down the stretch have gotten better. Forbes, Griffin, Mertz maintain control of this game. The midfield 3 on the inside control everything for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It's the width, transitional moments defensively. If you can break that for Louisville, you can get yourself a victory.
Ball for Dia. It's a throw for Louisville City. Amadou Dia was pulled at halftime against Hartford. Danny Cruz was quite simple about it. He was on a yellow card, and he was not losing him to a suspension in a game that didn't affect the standings. Winder rolls over to Tosh. Both those players should be up for award consideration at the end of the year, the All-League team or the Young Player of the Year. Gibson, Harris. Not sure he meant all that, but here he comes. Perez. That is a great standing tackle by Rivera. Rivera never gets talked about, yet he's the second longest tenured player for Pittsburgh, behind only King Kenny. Del Piccolo got the return, rolls ahead for Harris. Rivera's there again and walks it out over the line.
Del Piccolo immediately, he's pointing to the guys in the middle. Great work, but he knows he got it wrong because he should have hit it. This is some beautiful stuff from Louisville City. There's the high line as Tosh comes to Harris. Notice, he's not at the top of the box. He's come to the wide, and that's what I talked about. It's that tandem duo between Del Piccolo and Serrano. Del Piccolo knows the one touch, the second one needed to be him letting this thing fly on net. Challenge the goalkeeper. You're just at the top of the 18. There's no reason to get cute and try and spring Harris through.
Del Piccolo scored 4 this year, had 9 last season. This portion of tonight's game is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Good slide in to win it back towards Serrano. Rolled ahead Harris. Flick off found Serrano. It's brief, however. Tosh. There's Forbes. Cicerone.
Get up!
Robbie Mertz, who returned to the Hounds after a year and a half in Atlanta. You could argue that Mertz's return was the turning point for the entire Riverhounds season. Just never quite got on an extensive run in the first half. But getting Mertz, Griffin, and Forbes more involved as the season has gone along has completely changed the complexion of this group.
Well, here's the scary thing is they haven't even touched the surface of what their success could be.
Agreed.
I mean, this is, statistically, things have gone up. Their XG, what their ability to create in front of goal, possession, touches in the final third, all of those things have taken steps. The problem is the results haven't exactly followed. Now, recently, we've seen some really pretty football from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It really started about halfway through that San Antonio game back on October 1st. Then they go on the road, deserved better than the 1-1 against Sac. The next thing you know, it's a dismantling of Oakland roots. Oakland squeaked themselves in, and then Birmingham Legion, they probably overall got outplayed, but in terms of what they were able to create, it was some brilliant stuff. But you don't have that luxury here. You got to finish. And Bob Lilly knows that. He said, we have some great movements coming from the team. I love the leadership. I love the belief, but we've got to find a way to close out the quality of chances that we're creating in front of net.
Shigalusa finally impeded. Down to Mertz. That's a really nice dicing pass, but Cicerone out of real estate. Now he's chasing Perez. Commits the foul. There's Bob Lilly, and what a run he's had in Pittsburgh, huh?
2-4-0 in the playoffs. And what's interesting is that he has never won back-to-back games for the Riverhounds. The only game he's won in 2019. They've only had 2 postseason games. Yeah, a couple of times is the problem, right? So now all of a sudden you win one. This could be the second back-to-back ever. You do notice, though, the winning record with the Rochester Rhinos, of course, departed there after the 2017 season. Most importantly, arguably the best defensive squad this league has ever seen. 2015 took down the entire thing.
With Sean Tosh playing in the 6, starting to find his feet in the league. Canardo Forbes leading the way. Names like Steven Dos Santos and Pat McMahon. That was a loaded Rhinos team. Mertz crossing dangerously, sits in front, Cicerone scores! The first team to break Louisville within a quarter hour at home all season long. Pittsburgh leads in the Eastern Conference semifinal.
The Steel Army on the road, but there is the magic man, Robbie Mertz. Watch this move to the outside. I said to you, it all goes through Griffin, Mertz, and Forbes. There's Griffin, you pop out to Mertz, house the run on the near post. There's Kennardo Forbes, who takes an absolute shellacking by Sean Tosh. Smart move, though, by Cicerone. He actually gets the run a little bit wrong because he sees Forbes attacking the near post. He's got to pause, readjust. There's the look, and then come back to the back post. A lot of times, Mike, you're going to see a guy in this position attacking the same spot or just behind Forbes. It's a perfect display of versatility within the run and a beautiful finish by Cicerone.
And for the first time all year, Louisville concedes at home in the first 15 minutes. And the Riverhounds, who have beaten Louisville in Kentucky 3 times under Bob Lilly, one of a kind in their ability to knock off Louisville on their home ground, are off to a running start.
Cicerone, though, this is a guy, career-wise, you take a look at his numbers and what he's been able to do. Before he showed up here with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, he was a systematic player. Only 13 goals and 5 assists in 90 appearances. Look at his production now, though. 30 goals and 14 assists with about 33% less games. That's confidence, getting him into a more advanced role. But it's also the understanding from his tactical IQ of what his best assets are. It's speed, and it's the ability to attack space as opposed to having to play a little bit more with the ball at his feet in tight-knit spaces.
Play on Dia against Dixon. That's a goal kick. To your point on Cicerone, he was at Timbers 2, then FC Cincinnati for a 10-game spell, and then on to St. Louis. Steve Tritchu laughed with us once on a conference call. I asked him to play outside back, and he said, who, me? Outside back? But he did, and he's found a way to be valuable in a number of roles. But Dev, last year, he goes for nearly 20 goals, and I think a lot of people thought, is that sustainable? And I think he's answered that this year.
I would also say within all of those organizations, they were in some interesting transitional moments too, where you had an FC Cincinnati team. I understand the run in 17 under Alan Koch, but you had transitioned from John Hartz to Alan Koch, right? And so he makes the move into 18, but then the St. Louis team, you're going from Steve Tritchu to Anthony Pulis.
Right.
2 very different coaches there as well. And so there are different philosophies, no right or wrong, but as a player, he got a little bit lost in translation, right? Now all of a sudden you have a very clearly defined vision under Bob Lilly. I do go back to the fact, though, you get him into a higher role up on the pitch, but defensively, great look at him right now. Still tracking back, still working. You're just tweaking the position.
Perez dangerously seeking Harris, and there's Cicerone. Hoovers up that deflection back out. Sent long, header skews off Ordonez. Powering forward, nothing doing. You know, Dev, you and I chatted with Danny Cruz leading into the postseason again this week. Thought they had a really good week of training. They had played St. Louis City SC2, won a friendly last weekend to try and keep the blood flowing. Well, now he's got to find a way here with, let's be honest, the most depleted bench he's had as the manager of this group.
Ever in 2 seasons. Think about that. I would say, though, that, you know, watching them play, Mike, and I respected his answer because I asked him, I said, how would you compare the form of this team coming into the playoffs compared to other seasons? Because people that don't know, you know, he came in, retired in 18, he came in and was a part of that 18 championship team that went all the way and took down Phoenix Rising. And then in 2019, he was part of the team that made it back to the final. So he's 2020, so on and so forth. He's experienced the growth within this organization. He's seen a lot of trips to the postseason. I don't personally feel that their form is at the best comparing to the other teams, but he did say the numbers speak for themselves. They were 5-3-2 in their last 10. That was tied for third best in the Eastern Conference. You got +4 goal differential. That's not too shabby. But what I look at is really the final 3 or 4 games within that resume. I look at a little bit of Memphis, but more so I look at RGV, Detroit at times, and almost the entirety of the match against Hartford Athletic. To me, that's the most dangerous I've seen them, and probably the better span of about 6 to 8 weeks. And it is within this 3-back system. Growing pains that you're still going to deal with, and we're seeing some of that play out, but much more dangerous going forward.
Rivera, massive deflection from Winder. And Tosh put under pressure. Fondes. Serrano, appeal for a handball, went unheard. Louisville trying to play through 5 black and yellow shirts. More gray and yellow today, huh?
I like the gray.
I don't mind it. I'm just...
Remember that obviously black and yellow, the traditionals. The 2020 season when they came out with the all gray, all the black stripes on it.
Williams, boy, he could have bungled that. He's seated a corner. No, a goal kick. Well, Diaz slowed down for that, thinking it was going the other way. And whether Pittsburgh got spared their blushes or Perez got his foot on that and didn't make it clear remains to be seen.
Yeah, the actual challenge itself, I sided with Louisville. My question is there a deflection on the ball itself coming right back across? Now, I don't see a touch there, but watch the way the ball spins out. That'll give you a much better idea if there's a touch or not. I still go with Louisville here. I see the follow through. The touch initially by Manny Perez pushes it aside a little bit, and I see the follow through by Mikel Williams push this over the end line.
Well, an injury back near the halfway line. Eligio Araguin, who was the referee for the Charlotte Independence game in the playoffs last year with a very controversial penalty in the final 5 minutes that ousted the Independents, forget from the playoffs, in a roundabout way from the league.
Wilson Harris wasn't too happy on this challenge. He said to the referee, call something. They're both going straight up there. It's hard to make an argument for the left hand of Mikel Williams coming up over the back. That caught him in the neck. The contact itself, they are both going vertical. Unfortunately, even with a coming of the mines, it is part of the game still. It's never going to go anywhere. Well done by the referee, though, to slow it down. Check on the potential head injury. Check on Wilson Harris.
Winder, out of real estate, that's a throw. Past the midway point of the first half. Louisville, conceding first this year, still has a winning record, believe it or not. And at home, even more so. Pittsburgh this year, when they score first, 14-3-4. Drops in over the top. Oh, dicing Dia. Ordonez, the star rookie center back out of Pitt, steps in.
This is why he leads all defenders with assists of 8 in the USL Championship. Arturo Ordonez in his rookie season coming out of Pitt, having a little trouble with the footwork. Good recovery on the backside of it, though. Would have been real easy to get turned around there. That's the greatness of Amadou Dia. 0 to 100, but then as he transitions right to left foot, cuts inside or continues to run to the byline, he's so good at getting you to swivel your hips, catch you flat-footed, and you can't maintain your speed. And Not exactly the case there for Ordonez of the Hounds. Good defending on the back end.
5-5 corner for Serrano. He's gone short. Del Piccolo further. Dia, Serrano. Don't miss your opportunity to cheer on the boys in purple at Lynn Family Stadium next season. Louisville City FC 2023 season tickets are on sale now. LouCityFC.com/tickets. About 10,000 here tonight, anticipated through the turnstiles. And let's not forget, Dev, can't host in the East, but if San Antonio goes down, Pittsburgh could host a final, and Louisville certainly is in position if San Antonio were to stumble in the Western Conference final next week against either Colorado Springs or Sacramento.
I'll make it even easier. The only team in the Western Conference that has the hope of hosting is San Antonio, because it is done by total points. So it's San Antonio, and then just follow the numbers in the Eastern Conference. Louisville, Memphis, Rowdies, Pittsburgh. That's the way it plays out. So unfortunately for the remaining teams in the Western Conference, nobody else has a chance except for the #1 overall seed in San Antonio. Kind of feels like it could be their year to keep going, right?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You and I, we followed this league for so long, and you sort of go, I'm not going to get duped again. And I felt that way about San Antonio. Because under those years with Darren Powell, I thought, okay, this is the year it's going to happen. And it never did. And then I sort of fell off the bandwagon.
Oh, let's do it with the Monarchs and Cincinnati and Phoenix. Like, oh, one of these guys are going to win it. We don't drink that Kool-Aid anymore, huh?
No. Well, now I'm drinking it again. I watched the game last night between Oakland and San Antonio, and look, 30% or 35% possession, and it's, you know, maybe not champagne football at times, but goodness, is it effective.
It's the most important thing, right? Name of the game.
Some people get lost in the sauce of trying to make it look like a Monet, when sometimes you're better off being a Picasso and actually winning the game.
It's just 98 passes completed. It's the least amount of passes completed in a win since the league started keeping that stat in 2007. 98 passes. I know teams, both of these, by the way, that can knock out 98 passes in about 25, 30 minutes.
Right now, Louisville has 154 and Pittsburgh has 121. Context. Good ball ahead, Perez. Rivera.
I told you coming in, it's trying to isolate as you move players higher. You're trying to isolate the wingbacks, one-on-one situations, and attacking the space on the width of the field. Great ball here, knocked in by Ray Serrano. I like the role that they put him in. They dropped him off the front line a lot more, brought him deeper, and basically he and Del Piccolo are operating as the top end of a triangle in front of Tyler Gibson. Now, it's a lot more responsibility on the right-hand flank for Manny Perez to try and cover the ground, but if anybody can do it, the speedster from North Carolina can.
Ball aimed in, Serrano trying to get under it. Did you like the comp that Bob Lilly gave us for Ray Serrano? Mertz-like? Ball skips over toward Dixon and out.
There are certainly familiarities within the game for the young man, absolutely. But talent-wise, he's not as stocky in a good way, you know, muscular. He's just younger. You know, Ray Serrano's 20 years of age. Robbie Mertz, that's a young man. He's 25. He's gone through the collegiate ranks, experienced the growth patterns at a different level, and then pushed up into the professional game. Serrano, with his background in the Seattle Sounders, Louisville City, they plucked him out. I said to Danny Cruz early on, you went and got yourselves a good one. I would make the argument that the three young players, that's probably some of the best scouting from a young perspective that we've seen done by organization, at least when it comes to multiple players, with guys like Musha Galusa, Wilson Harris, Ray Serrano, all three of them, and what they've been able to provide from the attacking side of things moving forward. Pretty impressive for Louisville City, especially in the absence of #1, Cameron Lancaster, and then #2 on the backside of it, of course, Brian Ownby.
Perez Bowls over Forbes. Show respect. Helps him back up. Hey, how about we take a look at tonight's trivia questions brought to you by Tony's Break and Alignment. 2019, these sides went to extra time. Real thriller. Who scored the winner in that game? It was in Pittsburgh.
I gotta think about that one.
Really? We'll get Devin back on at a later date. Del Piccolo. I have no idea why he's the first name out of my mouth after the trivia question. Can't put my finger on it.
Good ball.
Perez from Mushagalusa. Perez crossing! Up into the air and out by Williams. Wilson Harris. He's a goal hound inside the 6.
These are different, though. Again, the different movements that you get out of the Mushagalusa as he comes near, it's hard to track the different runs. Now, you know that Manny Perez is going to be coming high. The problem is, as Serrano comes back into the interior, you've got to figure out where's the run from Del Piccolo, where am I going to find Serrano at, and then, of course, Wilson Harris.
Ball across, up and away. Dixon charging. Forbes finally Louisville steps in.
If you watch the width, though, Mike, there's a ton of space on the outside for both flanks for Louisville right now.
Perez looking for Harris. Corner.
They are doing a good job of getting their wing backs high. Amadou Dia and Manny Perez, both of which starting to produce opportunities for this team moving forward. Can you maintain the balance? And then to the argument we put forth for the Hounds at the beginning of this game, can you finish? Because right now, the overall level of creativity lacking inside the box. They're doing about 90% of the work so far, quite impressively.
Piccolo, Harris, out of play. All right, how about we take a look at the answer for that trivia question brought to you by Tony's Break and Alignment. 2019 Louisville at Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Who scored the extra time winner? PDP. 118th minute.
Is it crazy? With all their memory, I don't remember. For some reason, you know what sticks in my mind when it comes to extra time?
Yeah.
I think it's 20. Indy game. At Indy.
Yep.
That's what I remember. Those goals are in my head. Everything else, it's not a negative thing. They just have so many. It's kind of a blur. I just remember I wasn't. I came off of another game, and I remember walking in to the control room that I had just come out of for our match, and sat there and watched the finale of that game. Robbie Mertz needs to watch his mouth, or he'll be watching the rest of this match from somebody else, having a few words with the referee. He is hot right now.
That he is. Leo Araguen trying to quell this. Bernardo Forbes is trying to act as a proper negotiator. You know, for something that doesn't actually result in a card getting brandished, that was pretty heated. By the way, speaking of trivia, you know, I mentioned that Sean Tosh back in the day was with that Rhinos team. It was 2016 that he really stepped into the lineup more consistently. Ball rolled all the way through, offside. I mentioned he was playing at the 6 a little bit, that center back role, and I've been politely directed, correctly so. Tony Walls, yeah.
I loved watching Tony Walls play,
Tony Walls, he was the glue of that team, wasn't
lights
he?
out until he got injured. And then it was, I felt the St. Louis year, it was kind of like, for me, that was, what do they say, the hump that broke the camel's back? So they say. the latter portion of 18. I remember he came back, actually, we were just talking about 20, the Hounds team.
Yeah.
He was with Bob Lilly in the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in 2020. Just, could never really get himself healthy. But that kid, he could knock it around with the best of them. Covered so much ground on the interior of the field for those squads.
This is Bright from Mushagalusa.
There's the numbers defending, though. Dear Lord. Just an absolute swarm.
Cicerone. Scored in the 14th minute, the go-ahead for Pittsburgh. Assisted by Mertz. Gibson. Forbes got a piece, launched. Offside again for Mushagalusa. Gibson. Wider.
What's really interesting within this Louisville team right now is the way that they're trying to attack Pittsburgh. If you watch the 3-4-3 that we talked about coming in, I go back to the numbers because the numbers still ring true here, but what they've done is as Perez and Amadou Dia come so high, Mushagalusa has almost come to the number 9 spot by himself because Wilson Harris is coming underneath. Yeah. So the 4 itself are actually with Serrano, Del Piccolo, Wilson Harris, and Tyler Gibson. And those 4 are trying to figure out the combination plays to come through. Now, pressing-wise, as you revert defensively, things do change. Harris pops back up into the middle. Mushagalusa rotating back out to that flank. But the attacking movements, again, every single game down the stretch for Louisville City so far, they've showed you something different. But defensively, an excellent adjustment so far from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Dropped a little bit further back for Albert Dequip on some of the movements. And I've really liked what I've seen out of Robbie Mertz. A little pinch out from Alex Dixon. They have locked down that side for the most part.
That's a Louisville free kick. Somewhat from nothing. Tosh, who we just saw trying to get end line a moment ago, score 9 goals, and all of a sudden you've got a little more creative license. A couple times named to the All-League team. Could be in the mix again.
It's relentless work here from Robbie Mertz, though. That's a foul.
When they thought about letting that go, there wasn't an advantage to be played. Mushagalusa grabbing for his right foot toes.
Gotta be smarter if you're Pittsburgh, though. You got the support, you got the tracking run by Robbie Mertz right here. There's just no reason whatsoever to follow through. That's the second time we've seen a poor decision by Mikel Williams coming off the back line. Mertz over the back shoulder, a little follow through, and then right there at the tail end of things on Mushagalusa. He's got an engine, doesn't he? He certainly doesn't mind putting in the work.
And that's really the biggest trait. There's a lot of good traits, but that's sort of what makes it all go.
He was the same player in college in terms of work ethic. The Shaka Daly Michigan Wolverines, the difference was the attacking side of things. A little bit more emphasis put on him in that situation.
5th, 3rd free kick. Piccolo and Forbes came together. Long diagonal, touched ahead, Del Piccolo, Perez. Rolled out by Ordonez. Wanted to take a quick moment. The public address announcer for Louisville City has been Lance McGarvey. You see El Oso behind the goal. He has a 3-inch lesion that was discovered in his skull. Thankfully, however, not in his brain. He had a biopsy last week. In order to avoid infection, he's unable to take the public address microphone tonight. He also does the U of L basketball games. No matter who's calling the game on TV or on radio, he's the voice of Louisville City. Now if I could just get Dev to do a good Lou City goal the way he does, but I don't think you've quite got the baritone in your voice for it.
There's only one bear.
There's
only one bear.
And it's not Little Bear either. This isn't a Nickelodeon show. He is a big bear. And well loved in the community. Wishing you all the best, partner. Let's take a look at this knock in midfield.
It's right up over the back. Step on the foot. How do you do? A couple of those for the attacking boys tonight. Wilson Harris, Musha Galusiv experience there. Second for Albert Dikwa. The man that is Bob Lilly, the mastermind. So much respect within the landscape of professional football here in the United States. Seen it all, done it all. At some point in time, whenever he decides to call it quits, hopefully for our benefit, that's not in the near future, because love the calls that we have with him breaking down games. He will end up in the Hall of Fame, you would have to imagine. Most of his peers think so as well.
Yep. Gonna roll all the way to Fondes. What a story Danny Fondes is in this game. Kyle Morton wins the Golden Gloves, but it was Fondes who had to spell him a little bit during the year. And then the Hartford game, they said they were unable to get Morton on the field with a muscular injury. They thought they'd have him back for the playoffs. He's just not ready yet. Very well be ready for either Tampa Bay or Memphis next week. Of course, there's a long way to go between now and then. All the while, we're about 15 minutes from kicking off the Western Conference final out in Colorado Springs. It's a collision. That's an appeal for a card.
Well, you can't blame him if you're Albert Dikwa. Number one, it's persistent infringement by Louisville on the striker. It's a smart foul, though, by Sean Tosh. He recognizes that might as well gamble here a little bit. You win the ball, great. If not, professional foul. You allow your team to recover, because defensively, there was way too much real estate on this near flank to be exploited. Tosh, Gibson, all out of position, rightfully. The attacking movement they were just in so high.
Tosh and Dikwa, two best friends. Now that was not an easy matchup for Dikwa last week with Birmingham. Those are two bustling center backs. Nothing was easy about that Birmingham game for Pittsburgh.
Bingo.
No. Cicerone got bowled over by Gibson.
Gotten better every game, though, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. I'll give them that. And we joked all season long, almost half-heartedly, Mike, about how was this going to be the year for the Hounds because of the amount of talent that they had, number one. But number two, as the season went on, it felt different because they didn't have the bullseye on their back. They weren't, the rabbit out in front in the Eastern Conference that everybody was chasing, not as much pressure. It wasn't the attacking team of 2019. They weren't putting up the defensive numbers that we've seen under some of the historic Bob Lilly squads. Just kind of cruised along, made you happy at certain points, disappointment in others. Unfortunately, too many times on the latter portion of that conversation, at least for Bob Lilly's liking, and yet here they are, right? Starting to rattle off victories against some of the best in the East and the West. Most importantly, starting to play well come playoff time, which is really all any manager could ask for.
It's something that hasn't totally happened in his tenure
Never.
here either.
Never.
Usually you start strong in Pittsburgh and whether it's attrition or fatigue or just playoff games being won on such a razor-thin edge, it seemed to sort of come apart, really of no one's problem. Just the way the seasons went this year, it took a little while to get going, and now maybe they found their form at the end. Of course, Bob Lilly's one who brought up oft-discussed comment about MLS playoffs upcoming. Get to that in a moment. Cicerone crossing dangerously. Winder got it away. Serrano can't keep it from Forbes. Struck from distance, that's high from Griffin.
If Robbie Mertz has 3 or 4 inches on him, push him up to the 6-foot mark. This ends up as 2-0 Pittsburgh, but really good job. Watch Danny Griffin come across this ball. This is a guy who the Riverhounds are going to work hard to make sure they can keep on him, but as this thing hops up off, it's a difficult take. His momentum's coming left. He's trying to redirect it to that upper corner. Look how low he's able to keep this. Just kind of knuckles it to that upper side. Numerous MLS squads came calling last season, spent a good amount of time in preseason with Nashville. Gary Smith recognized how efficient he is within this system. And it's the ability to continue to connect the dots, right? If you're Danny Griffin, more importantly, there's an Ironman aspect about him. The number of games that he plays, the amount of minutes that he puts up, the percentage that goes along with that. He's a guy who has played every single professional game that has been available to him.
3,175 minutes this year. You talk to players and they go, wow, 2,500 minute load or something like that. For a midfielder, that's a ton. Over 3,000.
He's missed 17 minutes this season.
Yeah. Plus
17 minutes this season.
Yeah.
My body hurts just thinking about it. Now, to be fair, we're a little bit different in age. Hard to believe, Danny Griffin and I.
I have that as 99.47%.
And most importantly, which I talk to you about all the time, off the field as a person,
yeah,
he's incredible. Such a driven individual who just wants to get better, wants to play the game. A Providence guy who, you know, he just wants to play and he's good at doing it. Hello.
Rivera being ushered away. Gibson was in the middle of it. He and Dikwa are having words. It bubbled over between Louisville and Memphis. Earlier this year, these teams had a red card for an errant elbow in the first meeting. Rivera shown a yellow card, brought to you by World of Beer.
It's a foul, there's no doubt about that. Actually just thought he got caught up when he comes up over the top here. He meant any malintent bites. He's stuck. He's actually got his hands. He's trying to make sure that he's not stepping on him. Tyler Gibson had other ideas, as did the rest of the Louisville squad.
Well, we're past the amount of stoppage time allotted. It's presented by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Third free kick here for Louisville. Could they possibly, on the stroke of halftime, pull level as they did against Hartford in the regular season finale? It was Del Piccolo then. It's Del Piccolo striking now. Dangerous in-swinging ball. Harris drops it back. Cracked in front, touched aside by Winder, grabbed by Waite.
With a shout from the sideline time there. I'd like to see, it's a really well-played half by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Now they exposed themselves on the width a little bit as the half went on, but the good news is they figured that out as they approached the dressing room at halftime. Dropped Cicerone, Alex Dixon a little bit deeper. Dixon has done a great job in the 1v1 matchup against Amadou Dia on the outside, and the midfield three have done well for themselves. And Mertz, Forbes, and Danny Griffin. You got to find a way, though, if you're Louisville. You got to get Wilson Harris on the ball more. This is really simple because good balance in terms of the attack. More so service from the right side from Prez, but Wilson Harris, as you move him down in, you remove him from play. You're either going to play into him or play onto him. We haven't really seen one of either.
Yeah, caught between two minds, this Louisville side on the attacking end. Louisville City, the number 1 seed. They haven't had a chance to play much. Bob Lilly and the Riverhounds came in with a stunning opener. Halftime is presented by Serve Pro, and it's coming up next.
This new Toyota Tundra is amazing. It's rugged and capable.
Designed, engineered, and built right here in the USA.
And Tundra is more powerful and more fuel efficient.
The iForce Max hybrid powertrain delivers 437 horsepower.
And with the multi-terrain select, no matter what the conditions are, it automatically adjusts the engine throttle and traction.
While the crawl control modulates the throttle and brakes.
When we say you can go anywhere and do anything,
Tundra really means it.
yeah.
Toyota. Let's go places.
Well, I was hurting a wreck, I didn't know where to go, and all I had to do was call Let's Give Hope. 777-1111, 777-1111. Call Helsing Poe, you'll be glad you did.
We've got exciting news.
Commonwealth Credit Union has been ranked best in-state credit union by Forbes magazine.
For the 4th time. It's true.
In fact, we're number 1 on the list this year.
So, if you've never tried Commonwealth Credit Union before,
come see what you've been missing. Because here,
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 Here, we see you differently.
This new Rally's $5 meal deal is for all the workers, the heavy lifters, the get-it-doners, and the taking the double shifters. So who's earned this Rally's $5 meal deal? You have. Fill up on a fully dressed Rally burger, 8-piece white meat chicken bites, Rally's oh so famous seasoned fries, and a 16-ounce drink? Woo! That's a lot for just $5. You work way too hard for us to slack on the flavor. The Rally's $5 meal deal. You've earned it.
Well, I was hurting a wreck, I didn't know where to go, and all I had to do was call Let's Give Hope. 777-1111, 777-1111. Call Helsing Poe, you'll be glad you did.
With the Kroger Plus card, it's easy to get lower than low prices for the win. You also earn fuel points on every purchase to save big at the pump. The Kroger Plus card. All you do is win big, big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. With the Kroger app, no matter where you order free pickup, you get the same great deals as you get in our stores. So start your cart today. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The halftime score is brought to you by Serve Pro, the official cleanup and restoration partner of Louisville City FC. I see some purple. That's a start. That Ted Lasso's looking pretty decent back there.
A little yellow, though. That's home and away. How do we, I mean, the Teletubbies unite the clans in the USL Championship playoffs.
All right, let's get you caught up on the playoffs around the USL Championship. No Tampa Bay and Memphis tonight. That'll be tomorrow. Last night, San Antonio and Oakland, and Sam Adeniran, he's the first one off the bus.
You knew he was the problem coming in. A midseason loanee coming over from the Seattle Sounders. Big, bulky, prototypical number 9. Reminds me of old school Emile Heskey from Liverpool. Turns his back inside the box. 1-0, 2 minutes in. And this is how the game went. A lot of possession, some chances, yes, a ton of shots for Oakland, but nothing in terms of overall quality, especially not like what you're going to see from Santiago Patino in the 75th. And you got another problem. It ain't in Houston. It is in San Antonio. My man, back to the braces. This is all we saw at the beginning of the 2021 season for Santiago Patino. That's 3. That's San Antonio into the Western Conference Final 2 seasons running.
All right, so San Antonio is through. Colorado Springs and Sacramento playing right now. Memphis and Tampa Bay, as we mentioned, postponed till tomorrow, 4 Eastern, 3 Central. You'll see it live on ESPN+, and of course, this Louisville-Pittsburgh game at the half. Dev, we don't really have enough games to do a full-on dish, but we can talk about other games that are going on right now. There is in the East, there's nothing.
There's another game.
There's
another
tomorrow.
game. That's right.
We thought we're
going to move it. We thought we were going to be able to talk about it, but right now we're going to give you a little look at what could be. Memphis 901 FC, the Tampa Bay Rowdies 901 FC, one of the most consistent teams this season. I've got a question as to what's going to happen in the second spot in or around Philip Goodrum. Dvorak and what he did, the youngster. Great move by Ben Pierman. Chris Allen off the bench. He, of course, gets the eventual game winner, it looks like anyway. But Leston Paul, Aaron Malloy, great within the midfield. Leo Fernandez, that's an MVP candidate. The way that he's moved next to Jake LaCava, magnificent. And speaking of the way that you move, I like the way that you move, Roro Lopez. You could make an argument for him as an MVP candidate. Offside position, it's a little tight for me. But how's the quality touch? And yeah, that's nice. That's wet. It's cute. I like to say it's rude. Rude. 1-0 Sacramento Republic.
Remember when some commentator said Roro had lost his step? On that note, it's Pittsburgh 1, Louisville 0 here at halftime. The halftime show brought to you by Serve Pro. Back in a moment after these messages and a word from your local station.
Goes topics. I mean, yeah, let's talk about today we're gonna go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What?
What? Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
We're heading into all-wheel drive season.
And this RAV4 is one of 15 different all-wheel drive vehicles from Toyota.
RAV4 can handle the rain, the snow, the off-road, whatever comes your way.
Which explains why it's the best-selling SUV in America.
You got all kinds of room back here.
And RAV4 all-wheel drive can even come with an electrified hybrid powertrain.
Now, during Toyota's fall savings season, you can save thousands in fuel costs on an electrified RAV4 hybrid.
Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Toyota. Let's go places.
Thomas! He's got two! A shooting star for Orange County! And that's full time. The old guard with a new trophy. Orange County wins the USL Championship final. Welcome back. Pittsburgh, a 1-0 lead. They hope this holds and that they continue on toward the championship final on November 13th. Devin and I'll have the call when it's all said and done as we dust off the trophy, bring it back out. 6 seasons in a movie for me. Let's take a look at the playoff update. The USL Championship playoffs this year are presented by Hisense. Let's look around the league more so. How about Milwaukee coming into the league, working with Marquette University? It's going to be a brilliant 8,000-seat venue worth taking a look at online. One Knox SC is going to be at the University of Tennessee's stadium, Regal Soccer Stadium. I can already taste the rivalry between One Knox and Chattanooga. That's spicy. And meanwhile, Memphis should have a new soccer-specific stadium by 2025. They're going to redo the baseball and basketball arenas there as well. And Memphis finally have a place to call their own. in Tennessee. Meanwhile, here in Kentucky, this new Kentucky home, hoping it has the old playoff juice of yesteryear. Can Louisville go to their 8th conference final in as many seasons? Or is this the year Pittsburgh finally catches the Dragon? Second half is coming up next.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Mortensen Family Dental. Schedule online at mortensondental.com.
This new Toyota Tundra is amazing. It's rugged and capable.
Designed, engineered, and built right here in the USA.
And Tundra is more powerful and more fuel efficient.
The iForce Max hybrid powertrain delivers 437 horsepower.
And with the multi-terrain select, no matter what the conditions are, it automatically adjusts the engine throttle and traction.
While the crawl control modulates the throttle and brakes.
When we say you can go anywhere and do anything,
Tundra really means it.
Yeah.
Toyota. Let's go places.
The explosion of pads on a massive hit.
Oh, is he crushed?
The roar of Card Nation after a game-winning touchdown. Moments and memories you can only describe by being there.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com. Like it never even happened.
I wasn't ready for that. All right, halftime is presented by ServPro, the official cleanup and restoration partner of Louisville City FC. I had Harry Potter references in my ear. I didn't know why.
Oh, well, I've been known to make dad jokes on air.
They're gnomes?
Look at that. I think it's a gnome. Throw them on the lawn. Let's have a little fun. Let's talk about the highlights.
Yeah, all right. Let's do this. Let's take a look at first half highlights, of which there are several. We start in the 14th minute. Louisville usually bend but don't break in the first 15 if they're not on the ball consistently. They broke here.
But Pittsburgh does. Pittsburgh does. They scored 11 goals in the first 15 minutes of the first half. Only Los Dos have scored more, and for good reason. It's tempo. They chase it a little bit. They chase the Dragon, Mike. They know how energy-wise they're going to attack the game. I told you coming in, you got to watch the midfield three, where they're going to pop up. Well, guess what? From Griffin to Forbes, they find Mertz on that overlapping run. His ability to pinch out from that central location and then provide distribution in the middle is so integral to the success of this team. Great finish by Cicerone on the backside. Louisville responds a little bit, though. This is a difficult one by Wilson Harris, and it's one of only the few that we saw from their talisman striker. The run to the near post, trying to flick it back across. He got knocked, battered, and bruised all first half, and then hope that they could extend the lead a little bit further. Great setup here by Kennardo Forbes. He's such an unselfish player with the most magnificent vision. There's a reason why he leads the USL Championship in assists all time. He knows that trailing run by Danny Griffin is going to step up in. Almost picks out the top corner for the second of the night.
Halftime stats are brought to you by River City Flooring. Of course, Pittsburgh's got the goal. Neither side creating all that many shots, 7 in totality. Louisville more the possession. And Mushagalusa caught offside twice in that first 45. There was a change at halftime for Louisville City. Corbin Bone, who was excused from the previous game, personal reasons, he was not out injured, comes on, and Wes Sharpie will come off. Louisville without Brian Ownby tonight. Pittsburgh with the same 18 that they produced in Birmingham have a lot of options. And the second half is underway. Pittsburgh 1, Louisville 0. Well, you have to think Louisville is going to switch into a 4-3-3 that they're a little more familiar with in this second half. Subs are brought to you by MHS Global. Above and beyond. Are you surprised that it's Sharpie that came off at the half?
I'm not surprised that it's Sharpie because it's the familiarity of what you can do with Shantos. She trusts him. He also knows that he's very clean from the spot. All the goals that he produced, 9 this season, but 5 from the penalty mark. So in the run of player, if you can extend the game, he's ever trusted. Winder's too strong. You can't take him off the field. And of course, it's not going to be Perez or Diaz. So by default, it is going to be Sharpie.
Mertz on the run. It's a poor giveaway by Louisville. It's Cicerone pumping the brakes, cutting it back. Del Piccolo drives it out. You know, it was a 3-back that Louisville went to against RGV because RGV plays essentially 3 forwards waiting at the halfway line. It's 7 defending, 3 attacking at all times, and then they bring more numbers. So they go back to a 4-back against Detroit. Antoine Hopino, former Louisville player, according to Danny Cruz, knows Louisville's system well enough. He stayed high and wide, exploited the 4-back. So they went to a 3-back against Detroit. They had injuries. They went to a 3-back against Hartford. And Cicerone! Cicerone again! Louisville exploited again early in the half. And Cicerone has sent a shockwave through the championship. 2-0 up.
It's got to start somewhere, and it starts from Arturo Ordonez. This young man, his rookie season, soft feet for a center back. This tasty little touch right into Diqua. As he checks down in, it's the starting position for Kenardo Forbes as well. He's off that left shoulder. He's deep enough to be able to face this game. That gives you options. You can maintain possession, spray it to either wing, or stretch the game, and Cicerone read it perfectly. You slide this thing through, you get him out in front. I told you, under Bob Lilly, the advanced role, the ability to challenge one-on-one and run at space is why he's been so successful for the Hounds.
Louisville has only come from behind at halftime once under Danny Cruz. It was the aforementioned Detroit game. Well, now it's a 2-goal Pittsburgh advantage. This time Winder put under pressure. Well, Louisville already committing to a change of shape at halftime, and now you've been sucker punched for the second. Lost by Mushagalusa. Winder. There's any team in the league capable of going to Louisville and winning, and home playoff losses almost non-existent, it's Pittsburgh.
Just watch, though, off the 50-50s where everybody is. It's the perfect setup here. Cicerone sees the space. Robbie Mertz doesn't cause an influx into the space on the inside. He knows that Diqua is going to do his job. It's the little layoff, but it does go back to the first step that you're getting. Beautiful header, by the way. Mikel Williams just now coming back. It's the first step by Arturo Ordonez, because that ball out of the air, if he tries to bring it down, if he hits it right or left, none of that happens. It's the ability as the center back to pick out the 9 who's come down in and then play off of each other. It's stuff that is wash, rinse, repeat in terms of training ground. Let's go out. Where are you all sitting up? Peel off of each other. Let's make sure we provide options. Textbook from the Hounds at the start of the second half.
Diqua fouled. Five minutes into the second half, a Pittsburgh win, and they would go to either Memphis or Tampa Bay, pending tomorrow's 3 Central, 4 Eastern rescheduled kickoff of that Eastern Conference semifinal. San Antonio winning last night in their Western Conference semi. Sacramento and Colorado Springs locking horns tonight up in the Rocky Mountains. Griffin pings off a bone, recovered by Forbes. Onside Dequat, no, he's not. He's off. How about we show you a scoring update elsewhere? Well, we'll hold it for just a moment longer. Who knows, maybe there's one here. The Switchbacks have scored, leveled the game in the first half. We'll show you the goal in a moment. Roro scored that great first goal. If you stuck around at halftime to watch. Throw for Louisville. Slip through Mushagalusa. Cuts inside. And touched out by Dixon. Five corner, all eyes on Tosh. Mentioned 5 of his 9 goals from the spot. The other 4 came off set pieces. Delivery, Harris down in front toward Tosh. Bone! On the roof of Scouse's house.
And it's certainly not a sitter, but it is an opportunity for Louisville City. Just look at all the bodies. Massive crack. By Wilson Harris on the back post. Still haven't found a way to get to him yet. Paolo Del Piccolo takes a huge hit though, and as it pops out, you're cutting a real tough spot here if you're Corbin Bone, because you can't catch the ball in the drop. It's on its way up. You have to undercut it a little bit, but what usually happens there, Mike, is as you try to hit it, you're trying to catch it square and bring it down. You usually get up underneath the ball, create a little bit of spin, and it rises up. Exactly what happens to Corbin Bone, unfortunately.
Perez. Chopped down. It's going to come with a card. That's Williams in the book. And 6 yellows in the regular season.
It's the right move, though. Not just on the challenge in general, but this is the 4th time that we've seen Mikel Williams get himself into trouble. The other 3 trying to bail himself out. He's late to the party. Great explosion of speed by Manny Perez. A lot of times, Mike, you'll see him where he's coming from the outside trying to attack straight on or then cut back. Instead, he's coming from a central location, peeling back out. It challenges the positional awareness of Mikel Williams. That's why it's difficult for him to track, and then the out-and-out pace that Manny Perez possesses in the 1v1 matchup.
Off the World of Beer yellow, 5th third free kick for Louisville City. Struck across, Winder just over the bar. Meanwhile, out in the mountains in Colorado, the Switchbacks polling level with Sacramento in the 37th minute of play. Haji Berry, reigning league MVP, sent on transfer at the end of the year, so it's Michi Galina's team now.
It's really unfortunate because it's good closure by Keko. He comes back across. It's a deflection that's going to push itself behind Vitiello. That is Michi Galina, and that beeth his 13th goal on the season. We said coming into the postseason, we needed more out of the other attacking options, right? Michi Galina, Elvis Amo, Zach Zendy, and Jairo Enriquez. First 2 games, you've gotten something out of all of them.
Yeah. They knocked off RGV in the opening round, and now they're trying to set up what 4 months ago was a 1v2 matchup. You and I called that San Antonio and Colorado Springs. Dequa arrives with support, and it's Cicerone leading Mertz. He's closed down. Griffin, Dixon, offside. Hey, the 2023 season tickets are on sale now for Racing Louisville FC, the area's only professional women's soccer team. Visit racingloufc.com/tickets for more information. Harris got staggered there by that ball a little bit. Good work by Dia. Dev, if you're Pittsburgh, are you willing to play absorb and counter the rest of the way?
Absolutely. That is the bread and butter of Bob Lilly's teams historically. They can sit and hold it with the best of them. I will say, though, don't expect it. They'll play a little bit deeper. You can absorb some more pressure, but they're still showing you now. They will give you a release. You have to. One of the things that players get themselves into mentally is, Mike, is you chase so much off the ball, you get it, and you almost think that pinging it, knocking it and going is the way to go, and it's not. Keeping the ball at your feet is actually less work. You feel like you've done so much chasing that, oh man, now all of a sudden we have to maintain possession. No, not the case. So I do expect, once they get it, a little bit more direct into Albert Diko up top, play in underneath of him. They're still going to stretch the game, though, and this right here is where you're really going to see the biggest asset of all as the season has gone on. Bob Lilly, compared to other years, has done such a good job of assembling a squad that has allowed him to bring players off the bench but not miss a beat in terms of their tactical prowess and their ability to close out games. Versatility within their players, but the overall talent itself mimicking very similarly what you get in the starting 11 sheet for the Hounds.
So Williams comes out and Rivera comes out. That's Jelani Peters like for like. And Angelo Kelly on as well. Subs are brought to you by MHS Global. Bob Lilly, in his time with the Hounds, has never had this level of depth at fit, right? Williams, by the way, was on that yellow card he had picked up about 5 minutes earlier. Too far for Gibson.
In theory, this will actually drop them into a more traditional 4. You're not going to see as much of a stretch, again, in theory, on that little push that you would from Rivera. Alex Dixon should sit himself in front of Shane Wheat, and then we'll move Angelo Kelly over to the left-hand side, which he is more than capable of doing. Traditionally, if you move him out of the 6 spot, which is where most of his career has been played in the central midfielder type role, he does move into the right back position. We saw that a lot under Mike Anhauser at the Charleston Battery, but Bob Lilly has found a secondary home for him on that left-hand flank, and he feels comfortable within him. I would also say that it doesn't hurt that you've got a two-way player at a high level right now, sitting on 2 goals in Russell Cicerone. He's going back and forth, putting in a lot of work. Miles on the odometer ticking up, but the stamina not letting off.
Touched away, but right to Harris. Bouncing ball, Wait. Cicerone, by the way, has now moved into a tie for 4th on the Riverhounds all-time goal scoring chart. 31 goals in 2 years.
High score.
What, 16 last year and now 15 including the playoffs this year?
And this is what you're seeing right now. That's a handball, by the way. That's a missed handball by the referee.
Wheat gets away with one. And now Dikwa. Dikwa through. Dikwa denied. Fondes, he's still out and tipped away right to Bowen by Tosh. Well, that's catastrophic. Half an hour to go. Can Pittsburgh see it out? Could Louisville somehow overcome a 2-goal second-half deficit in the postseason?
If you're going to make the change and bring Corbin Bone in, you've got to find a way to use these 3 guys. A lot of it is really direct over the top. As they stretch, though, they're not winning all the 50-50 battles that they need to. And then the support coming underneath, they're not judging the balls right. Pittsburgh doing a really good job of winning the challenges, but then also, Mike, look at all the options they have to play out. You can play into Forbes, you can come square to Griffin. You've still got the stretch on the outside to Cicerone. That's the biggest difference right now, is as they win these duels, the balls that bounce out, or if you're the aggressor and actually come out on top, you've got options. When Louisville comes out with it, they're up against the sideline or they're in one-on-one situations with a couple Hounds players closing them down defensively.
Bone. Down to Dia. Early diving effort from Del Piccolo from 15 yards. Which doesn't look entirely unfamiliar from that 2019 final. Winder concedes a free kick. That comes with a yellow card, brought to you by World of Beer.
You almost have to if you're Amadou Dia. When he comes high, Josh Winder slides over. Amadou Dia had to step. The ball doesn't come to him. They go direct, and Winder knows that he's got to find a way to get to this ball. If he doesn't get to it, you've got Tosh right there as well in coverage. I don't blame him for leaving his feet, but the card certainly makes sense.
Offside. Let's tell you that Joella's Hot Chicken is serving up just the right amount of spice with their Lou City Slider Pack. $5 for every pack sold, donated toward the Lou City Embracing Louisville Youth Academy. With 7 heat levels to choose from, Joella's Hot Chicken isn't just about heat, it's about flavor. We're starting to get to the point where I'm really satisfied. No matter, Dev, you and I are calling the final again this year.
That's confirmed?
I would wait till Monday to say so, but I think so.
I was wondering what all that 1 in a million talk was again.
Yeah. We could do Primanti Brothers if we end up in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yinzers are us. Okay, keep going.
Go back to Joella's if we're in Louisville.
Okay. Bourbon never hurts.
We went a place that had the best cornbread I think I've ever had.
Oh, I went back.
Did you?
For the college game. I did Louisville Pitt, and the first stop I made was for the cornbread.
Tipped away, seeking Del Piccolo.
Mini cast iron skillet, honey maple butter.
Oh.
Heaven. Gosh. Excuse me, do you serve heaven here? No, but we got cornbread.
What's the name of that joint?
I don't think we're allowed to promote that, are we?
I can't. Del Piccolo.
Whiskey Kitchen.
Whoa!
Whoa, that's a miss.
Well, Del Piccolo might yell himself into a card. He is avidly disagreeing. Danny Griffin slid in.
I was with him on it. The little touch, that almost assuredly looked like this should have been pointing the other direction. The argument is that it hits Del Piccolo a second time as he's crossing back over the line, but where it hits him, you have to imagine that his body's already over it, no? It's very difficult from that angle.
Well, the referees get paid the big bucks. Peters, wrong-sided Kelly. Pittsburgh, one of the few teams this year with a above 500 record on the road. Come in and really put Louisville to the sword tonight. Hounds finishing 5th in the East. Had to go on the road to Birmingham. But they know as well as anybody, it was Edward Kizza last week who Birmingham probably will call Edward Scissorhands for cutting their season short. 2 goals off the bench.
You're just stacking up dad merit badges, huh? You knit that vest yourself, big fella?
Sure did.
That you put it together in the same plaid that you're wearing.
Play your cards right, partner. I'll be wearing it again at the final. Through for Dia. Dia's onside. Brings that off Shane Wheat, the 27-year-old center back from up north in Akron. 5-5 corner, and Louisville's going to take their time, try and do it right. Peters adds an element of height for sure, 6'5" on these set pieces. Service through, out toward Dia. Put it on his left, chipped it ahead, seeking Harris, but there's Waite. Hey, your dream home is waiting for you with Fisher Homes. Discover a variety of floor plan styles and watch your design come to life. Visit FisherHomes.com to get started today. That home will work for you? It's a lot of open air.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Good windows, two
I'm
stories.
okay with it.
Yeah. Wait. Ooh. He let that roll all the way in. Nice grab in the upper deck. It's a consolation prize tonight, potentially, but nevertheless.
See if you can find the head of Wilson Harris right now. One of the balls coming up over the top. He's the target man on the initial flick. Got a couple options, especially the 50-50 coming back to the top of the 18 if they lose it.
Somehow he was able to get over the head of Harris on the throw. He'll get a second crack at it. Who knew Dia had that kind of arm strength? It's a lot of bicep curls. Remains to be seen as if Louisville has a miracle worker on their bench. Pittsburgh trying to find a third and a little more breathing room. It's Dixon. Charging in, Dixon! Fondes the save. Sends it aside, and Dixon, the push at the end, ends the play. Trio of subs for Louisville. Wilson Harris off. Cameron Lancaster on. Del Piccolo off. Masoso on. Winder on. And Ray Serrano off. A trio of subs brought to you by MHS Global, above and beyond. And for Louisville, subs 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, fresh legs and an opportunity to chase the game a little bit here. That's not a bad shift by any means from Ray Serrano. Just with the switch at halftime, he sort of faded from the game. Got isolated a lot more underneath Wilson Harris and tucked two inside next to Manny Perez as they moved. They couldn't find his feet as much. The idea is Napa Masoso can fulfill a similar role with the ability to do it at a higher pace. Cameron Lancaster speaks for himself. Top 10 all time for a reason. When it comes to USL Championship goals, how many minutes can he actually give you is the question. Picked up a little tweak last week. And you know, the word is that 20, 25, maybe. There was doubt he was even going to be able to make the game tonight. So good to see him. I will say, though, hats off to Danny Cruz with the entrustment to Elijah Winder within the midfield. He's really progressed as the season has gone on. This is a guy who's been loaned. He's been hurt. He's really experienced everything, and yet he's only been a professional for a very short amount of time.
He was signed in April 2019 and injured his leg in January 2021, a catastrophic injury that cost him the entire season. 2020 really wasn't helpful for him either.
He broke both lower legs and dislocated his ankle.
Brutal.
And that could be career-ending for some young men.
And you mentioned it, sent on loan to FC Tucson in League One, returned, scored a goal, come off the bench now 10 times at Louisville. Floated high, and Wade arrives. You know, Dev, to your point with Lancaster, it's interesting. You say, hey, 20, 25 minutes. Louisville doesn't need to worry about extra time right now, down by 2.
You got a job to do.
If you need to make a change going into extra time and you don't have a striker anymore, you'll deal with that. But right now, you don't have a future this year.
What they're looking for right now, though, is just a quality of chance. And obviously within those guys, you can do it. But within all the shots that they've been able to produce, the problem is they haven't been able to hit the target. You're looking at the #2 team in terms of XG. That's the expected goals they're able to produce at 1.97 on the season, only trailing Birmingham Legion. Be it as it may, whether you look at that or not a lot, over the course of the year, the law of averages usually play out under 0.5 tonight, 0.42. All of the shots that you've seen, 3 shots by Wilson Harris. He's the only player to hit the target, #1. You know what's the second most? I'm just curious if you have a guess. It's not good. It's coming off the back line.
Oh.
Yeah.
That ain't it. Lancaster tried to bring it down. By the way, to your point, expected goals about 63.5 over the course of the full year. Louisville scored 65.
Close enough, right?
So they marginally outperformed, but by a margin that's almost indescribable.
And the quote-unquote shots, I alluded to it, it's Josh Winder. I mean, you can't tell me with all of the options that you have in the 72nd minute that you're looking at Wilson Harris, which I understand.
Makes sense.
More importantly, the secondary option, your young center back coming off the back line. That's, if anything, an added extra that you're looking at and being happy about. Not in this situation, though.
Mushagalusa fell right to him. There are 3 yellow shirts that swarmed him. And Louisville hasn't been able to crack that beehive yet. Pittsburgh's won the boxes tonight. Sometimes it really does just come down to execution. They have certainly executed. Tosh. Early ball. Jamali Wade again. You know, it's kind of funny. I called the Open Cup game between Pittsburgh and FC Cincinnati with Ricky Lopez Espin. At the end of the game, he said, you know, Alec Can was out of that game due to injury, and the #1 pick in the MLS Super Draft, Celentano, got his first game, and Jamali Wade came in for Pittsburgh, and he said, I think both these guys just won their starting job. Turns out he was very much on point. Celentano got Cincinnati to the playoffs, and Pittsburgh is on the cusp of the conference final for the 2nd time in the Lilly era. And in doing so, could keep Louisville from the conference final for the first time in franchise history. Mushagalusa cranks that across. Header steered away, Peters. Cicerone. Cicerone trying to hold it off Winder. It's a foul from Elijah Winder.
Cicerone on the touch, just a little bit lucky here. As he pushes this away, good recovery, and then as the pressure starts to come, his touch, I don't see it at all. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. That's a horrific call. It's a slip by Cicerone right in front of the AR. The problem is the AR, he sees him go down. He assumes, never assume anything, that there's contact on the alternative side of the player, and that's not the case whatsoever. Unfortunate. They have pinned Pittsburgh back. Some of this, I'll tell you, with 15 minutes to go, looks a little bit like what we saw last year, just role reversal. If you remember last year, Louisville sitting on the 2-0 lead, Tampa Bay Rowdies chasing the game, Louisville sat back. These waves of attacks started to come. The difference is the quality last year was certainly there for Neil Collins and the Rowdies at Al Lang. We aren't seeing that from Louisville City. They're resorting to a lot of long balls, hit with hope in the box, hoping someone can run up underneath it or the secondary ball can be won. Right now, the way that this is going, it's not going to get you anywhere with this Hounds team.
Dequa, I'll get out. Fans head to Twitter, vote on tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match. Poll open the next 10 minutes. Vote now. Twitter.com/LouCityFC. Well, make no mistake, Cicerone's been the game changer. Goals in the 14th and the 47th. Right place, right time on the first with a classy finish. And the second, Bernardo Forbes leading him through the back line. And a plundering effort at the end from Cicerone to bag a brace tonight. 2 braces in as many games for the Riverhounds. Kizza against Birmingham. Cicerone tonight. Dikwa on the run. Dikwa went it alone. Into Forbes. Bone. Masoso. Gibson. The road off traveled, seeking Mushagalusa. Bone out to Perez. Kelly and Cicerone come together. Mushagalusa looking for Lancaster. Good header from Winder.
They've just done such a good job centrally of eliminating all of the options for Louisville City. Corbin, but look how deep he's having to come to receive this. And as he looks forward, Griffin, Mertz, Forbes, they just squeeze the spaces centrally. That's why you're seeing so many direct balls. It's frustration. You can't play to the inside. If you can't play in, Mike, it's going to go one of 2 places. It's going to go out or up over the top. Now, depending on the starting point, obviously the end result can be a little bit different. But that's the problem, and that's part of the change here from Danny Cruz. You're looking for a bit more creativity. Carlos Mogul Jr. coming off the bench. Tyler Gibson, one of the more efficient players for Louisville City, takes a seat. You got to find a way to inject some life into this team. You need someone to go beat someone, is the thing. As someone drops off, you get one-on-one, quicker turn, rapidity of play. Everything has to take a step up here if you want to get back into the game.
It's Mogul who came on for Gibson. It's Mushagalusa running out of room. And the problem for Louisville is, with their 5th sub now in the books, at the start of this year, you would say Mogul and Winder. Winder was sent on loan. Mogul wasn't really around the first team at the outset. Yes, they've come a long way in a short amount of time. You did not come into the season thinking they'd be playing significant minutes in a playoff game. That's where they're at right now, injury-wise. No Ownby, no Morton, no Soler, no McCabe. You'd say McCabe and Morton and Ownby would either be starting or first off the bench in this game in some capacity.
You also don't have the quality of talent out of Cameron Lancaster. That's not a knock on Wilson Harris or anybody else on the front line, but your preferred method of payment coming in is 100% Cameron Lancaster.
Yep. 6 games, 3 goals, 2 at the spot all season. Peters over to Cicerone, the hero tonight. Dikwa. Mushagalusa central. Sprays it out, Perez. Perez early. Turning, Winder right at weight, not a lot of juice.
You wonder if he pulls out of this at the end. Beautifully taken by Elijah Winder to actually bring it down. But as he came back across, it felt like he felt the pressure. A little bit nervous that he was going to grab a stud coming through the ball.
Kind of wondering if someone got a touch to that, just the way it sort of died off his foot.
But the thing is if he gets enough on the follow through, Mike, even on the deflection, it's still going to cause a problem for the goalkeeper.
Right. Winder knocks it down. Griffin making for a few problems himself. Pittsburgh is taking the crowd largely out of this game, too.
They're just super clean lines. Amadou Dia coming back in here, fortunate on the little collision, but really clean lines. The flat five as they come flat back four across in. A lot of work being done by Albert Dikwa coming up. He's helping put pressure on the six. So even if they do get that initial ball into the middle, you turn, you don't really have the square ball back across. A lot coming right back from where you came. And then as you try and move forward, you're pinned up against the sideline. We're having a very similar conversation that we were at the 70th minute, and all because they're chasing the game because of Russell Cicerone. His ability to break the lines, to be quality in transition with the ball in front of his feet, and more importantly, in space. You get this guy out in front, he starts running. He'll make a mockery of your back line. He did it in the 14th minute on the beautiful ball by Robbie Mertz, and then in the 47th coming out of the dressing room on the assist from Conrado Forbes. Chalk another one up for King Kenny.
Header across, Winder denied. Perez the finish after Winder got robbed by Waite, and Louisville's got one. Their dream is alive.
I told you, if you couldn't go central, it's going to go one of two places. You're going to go outside or up over the top. Now this, yes, it's from a set-piece opportunity, but you got to be brave, and that's in two forms. You got to go and win a 50-50 challenge. Josh Winder does it on the initial one coming across. Heck of a save by the Jamaican in goal. But as he sprays this outside, you get caught sleeping a little bit here. That's the missed mark on the back post by Angelo Kelly, which allows Louisville to step up in and claw within one.
And what if I told you that is the first goal for Manny Perez all season? The goal presented by Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education, the Kentucky Lottery. And for Pittsburgh, you knew at some point they'd have to sweat. That moment has arrived. Mushagalusa tipped over, Winder pushed over, Waite, penalty, a penalty! Louisville can tie it at the spot!
Mike, the argument in terms of quality of chances was also going back to the conversation about playing into Wilson Harris's feet, not being able to play to. Watch who they find. Cameron Lancaster, how's the flick, son? I'm doing just fine. That's quality from the Englishman. Great run by Winder. He's got to time this to perfection. He clogs the space too early. You're going to see Ordonez or Wheat come back to the inside. Instead, he holds. He gets in behind. It's a challenge over the back shoulder, and this is the right decision. A restricted position, enough contact to take him down. And guess who? Cameron Lancaster himself. An opportunity to get them even. They just got to within one. Could it be two within the span of 3 minutes?
There is no VAR, so the referee telling Waite, don't leave a question. 13 of 14 Lancaster in his Louisville career. Waite has stopped 0 of 3 in games, had 3 penalty saves last week, including what turned out to be the winner against Birmingham. Lancaster has waited all year for this moment to tie it. Lancaster scores! Can you believe it? With 5 minutes to go, and it's a rivalry that never lets you
Go back to the decision first. Great little flick in. Winder on the push, 100%. There's no question about it. It's behind him. Even the hand comes away a little bit. There's enough contact, but would it be enough by Cameron Lancaster? This team has been absolutely decimated with injury throughout the entire season. It's gotten worse. The depth and talent depleted, and yet shades of the run in 2017 that saw Cameron Lancaster riddled with injury himself. He was the main man into the final against the Swope Park Rangers. Could he be the catalyst to propel them into another Eastern Conference final?
Can you believe this? And Louisville is going for the jugular. Breaks free. Kicked outside. Masoso, Lancaster, Masoso, corner. And this place is rocking. 7 minutes ago, if you could find a pulse, you're a better doctor than I. 5-5 corner.
Watch yourself if you're the Hounds. You need some leadership right now. They're all looking around at 6s and 7s trying to find organization. Jamali Waite, Robbie Mertz, someone's got to step up here and start talking to each other because they are scrambling.
Corner lifted across. Bone circles under. Dia, header away. Out to Masoso. Mogul. Mushagalusa onside. Pushed away. Got end line. Wait, don't tell me he's got it. Dev, we talked about Louisville and that position they were in. You touched on it. Pittsburgh needs leadership right now. Walk me through what they're feeling right now, because they thought, they'll be the first to say they didn't think they had it in the bag, but surely they were in position. It's Masoso. Contact. Referee had a long look at that. He's shown a yellow to Louisville, to Perez. Well, there's an appeal for a handball in the box. But it sure looked like the arms were tied behind the body of Toby Sims.
It looked like a really good job defending. Watch the arms of Arturo Ordonez as the ball comes back in. Behind, well done. Excellent defending by Ordonez. That's the modern world that we live in. But as it sprays back through the continuation, fair enough. Yellow card picked up by Manny Perez in his efforts, along with the goal in the 82nd minute to get the revolution started.
World of beer yellow. By the way, Lancaster just scored his 75th goal regular season and playoffs for Louisville City with that penalty.
So go back, Mike. The answer to your question, because I've been in this situation, please blow that whistle. You're the Hounds right now. You're looking to get to extra time. Given the way the game is going, the momentum, there's no organization. There's so many players running through right now. It's difficult to track the runners. You got to calm the game down. Just kill it off, slow it. If you can find a way to pick something off, I'm for it. But you need an extended conversation right now with your manager to get yourself back on track.
2 goals in 160 seconds. Perez in the 83rd. Lancaster at the spot in the 85th off a penalty won by Winder. Winder tipped it wide. Masoso leads it ahead. It's Perez. Couldn't find Masoso. In goes Kelly. Pittsburgh must be thinking this can't be happening again. The 2019 conference semifinal skipped header past Waite. Ahead, dead to rights, Del Piccolo in the 118th. And for Louisville, I thought it was really interesting. Bob Lilly said, remember McMahon and Spencer? And he went down a list of guys that have been ushered into greener pastures. Turned right over to Masoso. He said they've had a changing of the guard, and yet they continue to have the right culture, and the handful of players that have stuck around have been impactful. This might be the youngest lineup Louisville's had on the field at a given moment all season. And yet they're the ones who keyed the comeback. We want 3, they chant. They have the marketing campaign Go for Gold, the black and gold jerseys, seeking a 3rd gold star. Memphis and Tampa Bay have nothing better to do right now than watch this. Their game postponed tonight. Where will they go? With a win tomorrow, will they go home to take on Pittsburgh? Will they go to Louisville next Saturday night? Stoppage time brought to you by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. 3 more minutes. Wait. Over the top. Could this be the moment? It's Forbes. The magic man for the Hounds. Outside Sims. Sims crossing Fondes. Dequa stalking the front of the goal. The Western Conference semifinal level at 1. Lopez and Galena. The stars you anticipated in that game. The winner of that one goes to San Antonio next weekend. And now it's Pittsburgh with 80 seconds left, putting their thumb on the scale, trying to end this. Through Dequa, Fondes. Fondes may have taken a knock. Now Louisville's out of subs, but it appeared to catch him in the face. And if that were the case, it could be a potential head injury that would open the door to Louisville getting an additional sub. Lest we forget, if it gets to extra time, Louisville would get the additional sub regardless.
It was really quick little spin off here. Marky Barr coming out of the pocket. Look at his head. This is one of the things that he's gotten much better at. Head up the entire time. He got so used to playing in a deep lying role. Bob Lilly's challenged him to be a bit more forward thinking, stepping into the professional ranks. He does pick up a knock here. Danny Fondes, brave coming off the line. Love the intensity that he's brought into this team. Remember, your Golden Glove winner, Kyle Morton, unavailable. Picked up an injury himself. This is just the 7th appearance all season long for Danny Fondes. 2 shutouts to his name, only 4 goals against. One of those, by the way, coming off the bench for Kyle Morton. It was in the game against the Tampa Bay Rowdies on the road, and Parker Siegfried up and moving on the sideline. This isn't what anyone wants to see, of course. You're just hoping right now, with all the momentum that's gone your way, a quick little tending to for Danny Fondes, get him right back on track.
Well, Siegfried had a chance to play earlier this year, and it happened to coincide with probably the worst game of the season for the team. Take Siegfried out of it. It was the LA Galaxy game on the road coming off the Open Cup. Conceded 4 times. Dealt with a leg injury in the interim. Fondes got a chance to start when Morton went down. Played so well, the former 3rd stringer at Orange County, that at the end of the year when Morton picked up a muscular injury, Fondes was the one to start the finale against Hartford and won it 2-1. Well, he's back up. That's good news. And he's got a, well, his nose is going to need some attention tonight.
Well, he knows if he doesn't get to this, it's over, because Dequa's there. Any sort of hesitancy whatsoever, Dequa picks up the ball, and he's either going to take a quick little touch back across and have a go himself, or he's got the trailing run of Canardo Forbes that was about to be addressed at the top of the 18. Smartly done here, and you just wonder, with the allotted time coming off the injury, how much is actually left? There can't be that much. There was about 25 seconds or so when he went down.
So maybe this is it before an extra half hour. Winder, Mogul, teenagers both. Skips off of Sims. Mushagalusa. Ooh. Well, if he did get a lot of Sims, he did so dangerously.
Dudia not really happy here, and you know it's smart by Ordonez. He's trying to push it back to the outside. You can't blame Mushagalusa here. It's the studs is the problem. You don't fault him for stepping into the challenge. The idea here would be that you stick to your feet and try and push through. Use your head or your torso to your advantage. Just spring something in front of you. The problem is that never happens in real-time thinking. Any single player is going to step right through it. Almost impossible to process in that manner.
We are going improbably to extra time. Pittsburgh is stunned. Cicerone, a magnificent brace. A second just out of halftime, only to see Louisville turn the whole thing on its head. Perez in the 83rd, and then Lancaster at the spot in the 85th. We're gonna go another 30, as it was 3 years ago. One of the great rivalries in the league has turned its beautiful head once again. Off to extra time. Louisville 2, Pittsburgh 2. Back after a word and a message from your local station.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Mortensen Family Dental. Schedule online at mortensondental.com.
You want a tough truck?
Take a look at this Toyota Tacoma. The best-selling truck in its class 17 years in a row.
Want to know why? Let's go for a ride. We went to an off-road park to see what the rugged new Tacoma can really do.
And we were blown away.
With Multi-Terrain Select, you can go from rocks to mud and sand just like that.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
During Toyota's fall truck season, save on a new Tacoma with new vehicles arriving daily, plus 2-year no-cost maintenance.
Nobody knows trucks like Toyota.
Let's go places.
The explosion of pads on massive hits.
Crushed.
The roar of Card Nation after a game-winning touchdown. Moments and memories you can only describe by being there.
Louisville and Pittsburgh. Eat a banana, get some popcorn, do whatever it takes. Stick around, because we've got another 40 or so minutes of one of these teams' seasons. The other will continue on another week. Pittsburgh would go on the road to Memphis or Tampa Bay. Louisville would host one of those sides. We start in the 14th minute. Griffin starts it, gets down the wing, ball across from Mertz, the finish by Cicerone.
Let's be very clear. The entirety of this game up until the 80th minute was all about the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Yep.
They controlled everything from start to finish. You got looks from Dikwa, great hold-up play. Loved what I saw out of the midfield trio and Robbie Mertz, Danny Griffin, Canardo Forbes. They start the movement for Cicerone on the first one. He finishes it, and then he goes it alone. Love the step off the back line. Ordonez into the 9, down into one of your attacking midfielders. Forbes sprays it through. Check out the speed from Cicerone. Just breaks in behind that high line of Manny Perez that is oh so customary on the right-hand flank for Lou City. It's 2-0. They're in control. Desperation time. But we talked about this in the first half. Both managers putting extra emphasis, which we don't normally hear from either one of them, on set pieces. A little bit extra work, said this might be the only opportunity we have within the game. That is the only opportunity Lou City saw in front of the goal. They took it, and then the second one would come from a dead ball situation as well. Winder breaking up through the midfield. He's taken down by Wheat. Lancaster steps up, Lancaster into the bottom corner, and we head to extra time.
Oscar Jimenez enters for Louisville. This is their final available field player. Kiza and Ayang have come in. That's everybody used by Pittsburgh. There's a look at Colorado Springs and Sacramento. 20 minutes to go out there. Archimed has just replaced Malik Foster in the Western Conference semifinal. That's also airing on ESPN Plus right now. Lancaster has come off, and that's the change. Jimenez came on a moment ago. You saw him race onto the field. You and I asked, how much time does Lancaster have? We were told 20 to 25. He played 24 minutes, got this thing level with the penalty, and escapes to the sideline injury-free. So Louisville's playing without a true number 9. It's likely going to be Musha Galusa who's going to step into that role. And based on where Perez is standing right now, he may have to play the other winger. On to extra time number 1. We'll go 15, flip sides, another 15 if we're still level. We'll do it at the spot as Pittsburgh is so intimately aware from a week ago. 10 rounds of penalties against Birmingham. Pittsburgh, the only upset in the Eastern Conference of the 3 games in the quarterfinal round, free kick Louisville City. And I can't help but go back to what I said in the first 3 minutes, Dev. Eligio Arguin's the referee. He gave the penalty in the 87th minute that set Louisville up to beat Charlotte last year. And in basically the same spot on the field, he's given another one this year. In the 85th minute that allowed Louisville to level it. Ball headed up, seeking Tosh, and down to Bone. Bone across, wait, soars, yanks it in. Notably, Mertz and Wheat came off. Mentioned Ayang and Kiza came on. Kiza of substitute brace performance. You know, Nicholas Murray for USL Championship.com put together a piece. Asani Samuel in the 2015 final. That was my first game in the league. Scored the equalizer in the winner for Bob Lilly and Rochester against Galaxy 2 on a cold, rainy night in upstate New York, Western New York. They're never satisfied. South Canada, nevertheless. Run here is finally stymied. Oh, that header is epic. Dequa's through! Fondes. He's had to be at his best since conceding too early, and he has been.
Heck of a work rate here by Edward Kiza as well, because not only does he get it off the flick and then Albert Dequa starts to move, he drags the back line with him. You force Sean Tosh to play safe and recognize that you've got the run on the backside, even with the coverage by Jimenez. You see at the tail end of it, that's Tosh trying to pressure, get into a 2v1, but centrally you had to hold serve to make sure the ball didn't come square back across. Excellent save and transition by Danny Fondes.
Go back to last year's Eastern Conference final as Lucky M. Kosana off the bench. You never know who's going to be the man when it matters most.
Well, oddly enough, the only team with more goals off the bench this season are the Tampa Bay Rowdies with 13. Louisville now have 12 regular and postseason play.
Corner for Pittsburgh. First ball's away by Winder. Line starts to reset, picked up by William Ayang. Back post, header across, rises over Winder, and Louisville gesturing to send that all the way to Indiana. Touched away by Winder this time. The throw. Forbes wailed at it. Follow up from Peters, no. Really good start from Pittsburgh to this extra time. Laying on the pressure here at the outset. Still 1-1 between the Switchbacks and Republic out at Widener Field in downtown Colorado Springs. That's into the final 15 minutes. Winder commits the foul. Both teams are out of field players, by the way. Who's on the field? This is it. Someone gets injured, you're going to play with 10.
Don't tell Parker Siegfried and Kevin Silva that. They still have dreams and aspirations to one day set foot within the field of play. The goalkeeper union is great, and it's an exclusive club, but there are plenty of players out here. You and I were joking coming in that Oscar Menes, with what he used to be in college and mess around centrally, still feels like he can have a go at the 6th spot.
Yeah, I guess Danny Cruz could lace him up too, but
I still never got to that foot race that we were able to.
I think everybody loses watching that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's not televised.
That revolution needn't be televised for sure. Dev, Bob Lilly, there's no maybe greater tactician in game in this league's history than Bob Lilly. You're nodding yes. What are the conversations you're seeing from his group and how they've adjusted after conceding the 2 goals?
Keep it first off. They were so good within the first 75, 80 minutes of this game because they had the ball at their feet. You know, your ability from a possessional standpoint to stretch this Louisville team is your biggest asset. Obviously, you get the 2 goals. That helps, and you can drop down in. They couldn't close the game out, but they need to be on the ball more. They can't be chasing as much. We're doing that. Terrible giveaways. But, you know, tactically, as he's made his changes, Peters, Griffin, Ordonez are basically holding the back line. And then, you know, they've moved Canardo Forbes over to this left-hand side. They've pinched him underneath Edward Kizza. The idea is that you can still play into his feet, but he'll play a little bit higher right now. He's not going to do as much chasing defensively as we saw in the first half or be as deep because you've got Kelly and Ibarra underneath to help out.
Really good bone ahead. Mushagalusa. Ordonez has had a monster rookie year. And yes, he can still clean some things up, Bob Lilly says, but those are moments you have to have. Any good Jay Vidovich wisdom about him? How about Mogul taking the corner? All 19 years old. Mogul. Ball on frame! Oh, wait! Tosh pulled that out of the stratosphere. And Waite burrows down to make the save.
This friendly reminder, 9 goals coming in to this Eastern Conference semi to Sean Tosh's name. That's the most in a regular season by a defender ever. 5 from the spot. The other 4, Mike talked about it, have come from set-piece situations such as this. He's really good in the air with his head. It's really good timing, but the marking even better. And somehow, Tosh able to get a foot on it, but the paws of Jamali Waite stand tall.
Wow.
That's a really good save because even though directionally it's at him.
Oh, what a ball through! Offside doesn't count for Edward Kizza. Kizza is offside, nearly a 3rd goal in 2 playoff games. And boy, I don't know. Well, we'll try and wrangle our best look at that. That's going to be one that we may see from a photographer at a later date.
Bob Lilly, he's having a word with the fourth right now, guaranteeing him. I'm sure someone with their rinky-dink smartphone is having to go on social media right now. Good ball.
Jimenez, really good control. Sent in behind. It's a foot race. It's Kiza. Touched away by Tosh. Kelly trying to turn the corner. Lost his footing. Bob Lilly said to us this week, I've really cooled off a lot as I've gotten further along, and that's probably true. But this has not been a game for the cool at heart. Late penalty awry, an offside call wipes off a potential goal in extra time.
That's Napo Masoso on that left side right now. Danny Cruz brings him in. Dropped him into the spot that Ray Serrano was occupying within the front three, but he's got an interesting role right now. Just operating on the left, tucked up underneath.
There he is, Masoso. Oh, he got all of that. And if it's not blocked, it's a problem for Jamali Waite. Header forward, Jimenez, and Masoso couldn't do any more. Jimenez got under it. He stepped into outside back so Perez can move forward, leans that in. Mushagalusa turned back and Forbes calmly settles this.
Well, that's why I was talking about him though, because he's just floating over there right now, and the marks, you're not really picking him up. He's doing a good job with the disposition that is the block right now for Pittsburgh. That right-hand side, they're struggling a little bit because Deekwood's staying high, which is fine. Diaz dragging him, so that's his mark. So on the outside, Toby Sims is having to mark him, but when he comes to the inside, that little float, he's finding that 10-yard space just in front of the back line. You're forcing, that's a good look, Arturo Ordonez to step off the line. You drag a center back with you, you've got space in behind. If he doesn't come, you've got a little bit of room to operate in within the midfield.
Tosh. Jimenez. Clearance, that gets out. Oh, there's a yellow card coming, and I think Bob Lilly's about to take it. No, it's someone on the bench. Cicerone got a yellow card. Five corner to come. Well, we'll show you why Cicerone was so incensed at a moment's time. Mogul curls for the near post. Jimenez steered central, back toward Winder. Cut off by Masoso. Player has made Louisville his home. Played at the University of Kentucky. Some 9,000 miles as the crow flies. Winder, that is a huge collision. All right, let's take you back to the offside first. This is the best view we have. We'll stop it when the ball's released here by Ibarra.
It's really tight. I mean, from this angle there, the only thing you can guess on is you see the torso as he's leaning in. Winder straight up and down. The guess is the fourth sees the shoulder, the arm progressing over that imaginary line that he's standing out on the far side. Other than that, we don't have a good enough look at it.
Fifth, third free kick. Waite yanks it down. I mean, Dev, that's sort of the problem. If we have a camera on the 18, maybe we get a better view. Even then, I'm not sure we're ever going to have a real answer. But if you take out a protractor, you never know.
In physics and geometry, I'll be just fine. It's the whole adding thing that we try and steer clear of.
By the way, Pittsburgh now, they played 120 5 days ago. They're at 105 now. 225 minutes of burn at this point.
Just look, Mike, around the center circle where Carlos Mogul Jr. is right now. I understand it's a restart, but this is the problem they're experiencing. There's so much chasing within the midfield. Forbes is pretty much stuck out here on the left. So you've got Angelo Kelly and Marky Barr just going back and forth and back and forth. It's allowing Louisville to get on a lot of the balls, and not all of them are threatening directly down the middle, but it is enabling them to maintain possession, something they really struggled with throughout this game. But in extra time so far, they've done well.
Stoppage time presented by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. They're getting more than they bargained for tonight. 2 added minutes to the first extra time period. Mogul on a 5-5 corner. Peters. Mushagalusa would have been a throw. He keeps it in. It's Jimenez. Kneecapped away. Dia. Mogul. Calling for support. Swings that in. Ordonez came up a bit hobbled. And he gives a corner. Ordonez is more than hobbled. He's gone down. And he's saying don't bring the athletic trainer, because if they did, Dev, he'd have to come off. Even if just for a second, he'd be on a corner. Mogul. Header back across. Header in front. Waite tried to get a piece. Still alive. Toward Winder. Punched away by Waite. Out to Masoso. Leans forward Mogul with the width. In front, seeking Perez. Perez scored his first goal of the year to start the comeback. Couldn't get around on it.
And Jamali Waite having himself a night multiple times in this sequence. Watch him up to the upper right corner, even though you've got Ordonez there, right there. Goalkeeper to back him up. Second one off the line to get back and reset. Very impressive. The problem you run into here, all due respect to Manny Perez, he's a right-sided player. He does not possess a very strong left foot. Pretty good example of that. There's a little bit of pressure on the right side, but from that spot in that moment, plenty of time and space to be able to redirect something on frame.
Time to switch sides. Extra time period number 1 is over. 15 down, 15 minutes to go. Still 2-2. War of attrition is on. They'll take a moment. We'll take a look at the highlights thus far in the extra time period. This was just over 2 minutes into extra time.
There's the savior that was Edward Kizup in the game of the first round against Birmingham Legion. He lays it off to Albert Dequip. Like the separation on the right-hand side. It is a good recovery, though, by Sean Tosh. Locked down the middle, and you don't allow the ball coming back across. Half-hearted chance. Response from Louisville City, though. They were the aggressor here as the first period of added extra time goes on. So it's overtime. You push through 15 minutes. Lou City on the ball a lot more attacks, and yet the opportunity, probably the best look that you're going to get, comes from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds via Marky Barr and Edward Kizup. Could he make it 3-2? Bob Lilly said, you are out of your mind, and we couldn't tell you from that angle. Last chance opportunity. Back-to-back upper corner, reset by Waite. Ball back across. He's had a very impressive night. Manny Perez is not able to get anything out of this on the backside, but the entire highlight sequence here has to be given credit to the goalkeeper and Jamali Waite. Very impressed with the Jamaican and what he's been able to accomplish in goal for Pittsburgh tonight.
And it's now stoppage time between Colorado Springs and Sacramento. We may stick around for this. That's Galena, and it's picked up there. All right. Thought maybe we had a winner on our hands over in Colorado Springs.
How's the extended pay work if you call a goal and I give analysis from here on a game that we're not on?
I'm calling both games.
That is certainly something to be talked about come contractual obligations next year.
Wow. Not a bad game we're seeing over there. They've both been pretty good tonight.
Makes note for negotiations. In-game goals check. I want to see Pittsburgh, if Bob's willing to be a little bit more aggressive here. Bob Lilly, head coach of the Riverhounds, they certainly sat back a little bit more than I anticipated. I will say that without any changes left to him, Conrado Forbes, a little bit of a lame duck on the left-hand side. You take advantage of that. Manny Perez uncomfortable in that high motion on the right, but you can take advantage of that. Bring him a little bit deeper. Drag Conrado Forbes out of that. See if you can get some overlapping runs. Oscar Jimenez is going to be just fine getting it out in this situation, and Perez can provide coverage. But I still go back to the argument, find the 9 as well. Got to find the 9 centrally. They moved away from that again.
15 minutes left. Don't have a winner. We'll do it from the spot. Pittsburgh may have to play roulette twice in a week. And Louisville has the benefit of having only played once in the last three weeks. Foul. It's a Louisville foul from Winder.
It does come from the right-hand side. The difference is this is Elijah Winder, who's come up over to make contact on Jelani Peters. There's enough there for the referee. There's enough for me as well. How's Danny Griffin, by the way? Kind of funny how coming into the game, we were talking about the different looks that the Riverhounds can give you, and in the breakdown, we discussed specifically Danny Griffin. Danny Cruz, given the way that he felt the game was going to go, said, yeah, I don't anticipate seeing Griffin at the center back spot tonight. Well, that went against the grain, didn't it? The young man is incredible. It's a 6'8" by nature that has become more comfortable moving higher up on the pitch, operating with back to goal at times, playing as a hybrid 10, even a false 9, depending on who is the main attacking option up top, and yet still, through substitution patterns, lack of depth, and just exhaustion, he's able to slide onto that back line and solidify the back 5.
Bob Lilly said this week to us, he is worth his weight in gold. The only way to silver is going to be through his effort here at the end. Cicerone scored twice for Pittsburgh, the 14th and just out of halftime. Louisville responded. Perez in the 83rd. Rebound off a great save by Waite, and then Lancaster at the spot. Did Ian get a piece of that? He did. It's a corner. Pittsburgh has been so tantalizingly close to having a championship-worthy team. All the owner there, Tuffy, has done to put a quality roster on the field. When he found out Rochester was going away, he made an immediate push to bring in Bob Lilly. Corner here for Louisville City. Comes out to Masoso. They'll try it again. Came back on side. Service again. Sims was up to that. Third try. Perez rolls it forward. Mogul crossing. Another header away. Pittsburgh can't decompress. Another ball forward. Mushagalusa could have let it out for a corner. He keeps the pressure on. Dia goes to the backside. Ayang's a long way from where he wants to be. That clearance left the door open once more with 11 minutes to go.
You're going to have to go beat someone right now. With as flat as they are inside, it's just, they've restricted too much of the space on the interior. So you've got really 9, almost 10 compacted into a 40-yard gap. Obviously, you remove the goalkeeper from the situation. That flat back 5, you bring the other 4 into the mix. Just operating with Edward Kizza up top by himself. Mogul's coming in, but this little spot right here, if he starts to pinch off the Kizza a little bit, you can play into his feet, but it's got to be quicker, and eventually you're just going to have to go beat someone. If you want to go up over the top and then play under on a secondary ball, that's fine, but with the side-to-side rotation, Pittsburgh will take this all day because you're not threatening at all. They're keeping the game in front of them, just allowing you to continue into these horizontal spaces, nothing going vertical and nothing aggressive whatsoever.
This is where they were at for about 30 minutes of the second half after grabbing the second goal, and they created, what, 3 vertical chances where they could have put this out of reach.
The difference is in that situation, you were sitting on the lead.
Yeah.
Now, right now, this is playing for a draw. This is not a team right now that is playing to try and go get the equalizer. Your only hope right now, which I can understand and it's okay, is to absorb, sit, and let the fresh legs of Kizza on the counter go and get you something.
Mushagalusa, among the newcomers to this team, trying to uphold tradition. 7 years, 7 conference finals, trying to make it an 8th. Switchbacks and Republic are headed to extra time in Colorado Springs. Mushagalusa. San Antonio gets to watch tonight. Tampa Bay and Memphis didn't intend to watch tonight, but now they have to. They don't play the Eastern Conference semifinal until tomorrow afternoon. Ben Pierman, Philip Goodrum, Aaron Malloy. What a year Memphis has had. Tampa Bay late in the year. Leo Fernandez has found his scoring touch. Jake LaCava, magnificent year, among others.
Sebek Wanzadi has found his scoring touch.
No kidding.
Think about that. I mean,
6 and 5?
5 and 4.
5 and 4.
5 goals in the last 4 games for a guy who netted double digits last year, well over 20.
Regrettably for Memphis, I think I just put something into the universe that they're not intrigued by.
Bingo. Think about, I mean, what that team has experienced, the Tampa Bay Rowdy. I mean, both squads, obviously, but in terms of the lack of options attacking-wise, you lose a center back at the beginning of the year. You're looking around going, we didn't anticipate that because Forrest Lasso left so late. And all of a sudden, they started to lock it down, but they couldn't get any goals. And finally formed for everybody. You've got an MVP candidate in Leo Fernandez, Jake LaCava, an excellent addition on loan. They're a very dangerous team right now. And 901 FC, Ben Pierman, easily one of the most consistent in the entire USL Championship. Great matchup.
So trying to get in there. Rolled ahead. Edward Kizza. Tosh. Attack still on. Ball whipped across and allowed out. Well, apparently that took a deflection. That is a corner for Pittsburgh. And lest we forget, Jelani Peters, 6'5", Ayang, 6'2", Sims, 6'1", Dikwa, 6'2", Ordonez, 6'3". A lot of trees in the area. The league's all-time assist leader, Forbes. Forbes again. Forbes a 3rd time. This time he'll go for it himself.
open desperation. That's mostly what you're seeing right now. Forbes just trying to put something back into the danger area. The idea is pick out any one of those aforementioned trees that have made their way to the top of the 18 on the set piece. Dangerous, dangerous turn there from Carlos Mogul Jr. Watch out.
That was admiration calling them trees, by the way.
Of course. I'm
not calling them a mobile.
No, I'm a bonsai myself.
Yeah. I'm more of an oak. There's a little more width. Dequa.
Oh.
That could ask real questions. Dia is not in the book yet. Sims is down. And Dia is booked now.
You get tired, a bit longer in the tooth with your legs. This challenge didn't need to happen if you're Amadou Dia. You really don't have much to gain from it. Even on the tackle, there's enough behind you in terms of pressure that could be if you win the ball by leaving your feet. You've got Mushagalusa in front of you. You stand your ground here with the rate that he's attacking the ball. Toby Sims, that touch is only going one place. It's usually going to be pretty extended away from him. You don't know if he's necessarily going to be able to get on the end of it. Stand tall. But that's the decision-making process, the mental warfare that takes place as these games go longer. More difficult to think clearly.
Mark Ibarra. Ibarra had her away. Griffin. Forbes. Forbes serving. It's looking for Kizza. A throw for Louisville with 4 minutes to play. The goal now certainly would be the dagger. These teams, since Bob Lilly got to Pittsburgh, 3 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws. 3 regular season wins in Louisville for Pittsburgh, 2 playoff victories for Louisville in 2 tries, 1 on the road, 1 at home. The first at Lynn Family Stadium, the second at Highmark. The 2 teams with the longest streaks of consecutive playoff appearances in the league. In different ways, they have been the class of the championship for the last half-decade plus. Temperatures have dipped below 60 degrees. In this cool Louisville air, it's Kizza. Tips it forward. Rolled across for Dequa and cleared by Dia. Through ball for Kizza. Rolls up here for Fondes.
Manny Perez is gassed. They've basically just taken him, thrown him up top and said, go stand there. Don't give the ball away. Go play the 9 for a little bit. Masoso back over to the right flank. It still gives you an opportunity with Mushagalusa and Masoso to play through him because you have the speed. The problem is you got to clean this up. A lot of errors by both teams right now.
Ibarra for Ordonez.
Perez started cramping around the 115th minute.
You can see Ordonez is feeling it now too with 100 seconds plus stoppage to go.
Oh, that is, yeah, he's got an issue. He needs a little bit of help here.
Now, he went down with an injury on a set piece about 10 minutes ago, but stayed in. Yeah, he's gonna need to come off.
He just said, he's like, I'm good. And you read his mouth a little bit, needs some water, some salt tablets, something to help him hold anything within this body right now. your body just starts to go, Mike, and mentally you feel like you can push through it, but it's that extra step, the extra push. It looks like a simple sequence down into the bottom corner, right? But number one, that's a center back coming off the back line. We're not used to seeing that movement for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, right? But as he comes, the extra little effort, you're trying to come across your body and whip it in, tweaks your muscles, and all of a sudden, high twitch, fast twitch, everything pushing in another direction, and it just seizes up. That's what's going on for Arturo Ordonez, though. He doesn't like some of the direction being given to him by Bob Lilly. Bob doesn't like this step. Little update for you, though. Colorado Springs, Sacramento Republic. Watch the ball down in through. Pretty impressive. Second time, guess who? Mishi Galina has put switchbacks ahead of Republic. Second on the night in the 96th minute. Little bit of time left to go there, but the lead for Springs at home.
And that is in extra time. They're going to go the full 120. Ordonez returns. He's a little slow to it. Stoppage time presented by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. 2 added minutes. Ball cut across Kizza. Clearance. Mushagalusa. You know, these teams met the first 2 months of the year. Bob Lilly said we weren't ready yet. That was a measuring stick game for them, and he didn't feel like they measured up. He knew what they could be. They brought back more of this Riverhound team than they had in years past. 90 seconds left. Header through! Masoso! Contact Ayang corner. What an incredible track back by William Ayang.
Big fella's got some speed left in the tank, even after coming on as a substitute. Watch the touch by Masoso. Little surprised, A, that he doesn't hit it, number one, and that B, that he doesn't bring it back across a little bit. They don't like it. They don't like the contact. I actually thought real time he got a little bit more of the ball.
Could it be in the final minute? Mogul clearance. We're on the cusp of penalties. There could have been a penalty a moment ago. Pittsburgh will say ball doesn't lie, that the one that led them to this point was a difficult one to begin with. Looked like Ayang did squarely get the ball at the end. Whether he got the player first or not, a different argument altogether. Dequa stridently won't get there. Final seconds. Free kick Pittsburgh. Conceded by Winder. For the Riverhounds, it all has to go forward now. We've gone the 2 minutes. Score, Pittsburgh goes through. If they don't, likely we're headed straight to penalties. Chipped into the corner, it's brilliant, but it's too far for Griffin. We are going to penalties in the Eastern Conference semifinal. And Waite, who saved 3 against Birmingham, into the spotlight again. And Danny Fondes, if you can believe it, in for the injured Kyle Morton, is going to go the distance tonight and take on the greatest way a goalkeeper can feel. We've got a lot of highlights, Steph. Let's start in the 14th minute. Cicerone, first of 2.
The brilliance that were the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Again, 3/4 of the match. They were the best team on the field. Of course, it takes 90 minutes, but it took Russell Cicerone 47 minutes to bag himself a brace. Great ball, worked inside out. A second one, you go direct up over the top. It's a different look. It's still efficient, and it's a 2-0 Hounds lead. Turn the page, inside 10 minutes to go. On the back post, sure, why not? Manny Perez, square ball back across. Josh Winder steps all the way up through. Good save by Waite. Nice follow-up. And then the pen. You know, I see you people floating around on social media. It ain't soft. It's a penalty. Get smart. It's from behind. It's contact. It's a pen. It is 100% a goal by Cameron Lancaster. It's a game tire, and we go to added extra time. Good save here. Danny Fondes has lacked for nothing within this match. Neither has his counterpart, Jamali Waite. The Jamaican, perfect positioning every single time. Sets himself central, left to right, gets down, gets quick, gets himself a save. Controversy, you be the judge here. Very difficult to tell as Edward Kizza slips in behind. Bob Lilly certainly didn't agree with it as he gave the fourth official the third degree. This is back-to-back. Jamali Waite up to the corner, help from Ordonez. He's going to get a little help on the backside of it as well as he pushes it away. And then here, real time, saw a lot more of the ball. As I watch again, still think it's no penalty. There's a little bit of contact on the left knee and right leg, but I do see the ball and then the collection between the two bodies.
Penalties just a week ago, 10 rounds. Birmingham missed their first two saves by Waite. Pittsburgh able to stave it off late. For Louisville, they've gone to penalties twice this season in the Open Cup. They got by Detroit City with Kyle Morton in goal. Got by St. Louis City SC2 in a really just brutally long 10-round run. Dev, if you're Danny Fondes, you didn't think you'd be in this spot right now. Last year you won a title and you watched the entire season. Now whether or not you lift a trophy is entirely on him.
I would say for Danny Fondes, though, the confidence level at a really high level for a couple of reasons. Number one, his numbers coming in. 6 appearances prior, 1 off the bench, yes, but 2 shutouts and only 4 goals against in that time frame. So your 7th, the 2 goals that were given up tonight, very difficult for him to have any sort of say. And everybody got exploited for Louisville. He was an innocent bystander. When called upon and actually had to make a save, he's been brilliant. So he'll be just fine from this spot. He's going to look at everybody else with the belief, oddly enough, because the names that we're so accustomed to seeing for Louisville, the Cameron Lancasters, the Niall McCabe's, Del Piccolo, those guys aren't in there right now. Yep. They're not the ones that are going to help and push them. And you look around right now, you are looking at some old faithfuls in Oscar Jimenez, Sean Tosh. They've been there and seen this before, part of the title-winning teams of 17 and 18, and still veteran experience in Corbin Bone, but a very young group for Danny Cruz right now. Settle the nerves. He had his plan. Make sure you know what you want. Bob Lilly, well, he's certainly been around the block. They have done everything and anything to try and progress themselves through the playoffs over the years. This team standing right in front of them has been one of the major roadblocks that has disabled their ability to continue their journey on. And now all of a sudden, as good as you were and as frustrating as the finish was, you have just as good as an opportunity as well as you started at 2-0. They do have the veterans. They've got Canardo Forbes, Albert Dequa. These guys, they've been around a little while. And they will stand there and say, we're not going to go the entirety of all those 34 games and from the marks last season to come to this point and be pushed away. Let's go get it, boys.
Tosh will try and set the tone. Louisville will shoot first. Waite this year 0 for 4, saving penalties in regulation. Stopped 3 of 10 against Birmingham last week, including the first 2 and, of course, the last one. Tosh 5 of 5 at the spot this season. Best of 5, and then sudden victory after that. Jamali Waite is ready. The weight of the world on his shoulders. Tosh opens the proceedings for Louisville City. Tosh scores! Too soon for tucked in, locked in. But the air of that penalty is potent.
Very calm from Tosh, just right across the body, sends Waite packing. 5 during the regular season, let's make it 6 as you progress here. He's not going to compile another statistic, but oh so calm for the center back to start this thing off right for Lou City.
Danny Griffin, start him in midfield, play him at center back. Play him as a false 9, who cares? Griffin, a man for all seasons. 1 goal this season. Danny Fondes into the spotlight. Griffin saved. Fondes. A long way to go, but for a young goalkeeper, experience-wise, but 29 years of age, he's waited for this.
He telegraphs it, though, because Danny Griffin, notice he doesn't open up his body too much. He stays flat, and as he comes with his right foot, he never starts to motion back across the body. It's read perfectly by the goalkeeper. Not enough momentum into the bottom corner. Well done by Danny Fondes from the spot.
Enjoy Josh Winder while you can. His future appears well beyond the ceiling of Lynn Family Stadium. Winder, perfection! Roofed it in with a little rainbow. 2-0, round and a half in the books.
Calm as you like, son. Some set of stones, my man. How high you going here? Absolute perfection. You want to put it to rest? Across the body, upper corner, no questions asked by Josh Winder from the spot on this one.
He finished the Open Cup game with a penalty against Detroit, or rather St. Louis. Kenardo Forbes. You don't want to say you have to have it because they didn't a week ago against Birmingham. Forbes scores! He rifled it home. And the league's all-time assist man scores a goal the Riverhounds had to have.
They say heavy is the head that wears the crown, not for King Kenny. The captain from the spot. You're Bob Lilly. You don't want anybody else in this position. Excellent penalty. Laces, head, just drive right through it. Even if Fondes can get a paw on it, very difficult with the amount of momentum behind that strike.
Jimenez playing the fewest amount of minutes of his Lou City career. Did not score all year, the 32-year-old. An invitational tryout once upon a time. His name used to be in Sharpie. Jimenez steps up, feigns and scores! Oscar Jimenez, a goal that makes you reminiscent. A kiss to the crowd. 3-1 Louisville.
Wait's not far off, though. Even with the hesitation, good job by the goalkeeper because he paused and then came back. He hesitated a little bit. Right there, coming back across, came off the line early, too. Even if he got to this, you best believe it was probably coming back because he jumped the gun too early.
Toby Sims, the League Two Defensive Player of the Year last year. The 25-year-old Englishman with a major Open Cup performance earlier in the year. Sims, that's in. Rolled it off the back base of the goal, and Pittsburgh still alive.
This is what I love. Watch come all the way back across the body. Love it when guys have the understanding to trust your body. You come all the way square. You can catch it too much and go wide sometimes, but closes the foot off. Elects for a little bit more placement than power, and well put away.
At 15 years old, Napo Masoso left his parents and moved to Louisville, Kentucky. Went to St. Francis and then UK. And he's blossomed at Louisville City. Masoso puts it in. Pittsburgh must score. And the Riverhounds season comes down to one kick of the ball. Albert Dikwa. He's found a different level of goal-scoring form under Bob Lilly. Dikwa must score against Fondes. Dikwa puts it in. And now Louisville have a chance to finish the job.
Well done by Dikwa. Good pressure penalty. Watch him come around the ball a little bit at the end. Surprised that Fondez doesn't trust and come to the right here. The way that he lined himself up, he's so straight on the ball. To bring this to his right, the goalkeeper's left, almost impossible. Should have done better there, but still well placed inside the post.
Carlos Mogul, 19 years old, out of the academy. Mogul can end it for Louisville City. Mogul! Louisville City is moving on! He's not a kid! He's a mogul! And an 8th Eastern Conference final in 8 seasons for Louisville City. Six years ago, it was another Louisville kid, a local kid in the playoffs, Richard Ballard. Tonight, it's Carlos Mogul. Lou City advances in penalties, and Pittsburgh, who led by 2 with 10 minutes to go, stunned disbelief. Fondez, he'll say it's just a flesh wound. Makes the save in the first round of the shootout, and it's enough. Wow.
I did look at you around the 75th minute mark. Not saying it was a soothsaying moment, but I did look at you and say, this oddly reminds me of last year's Eastern Conference final when Lou City was cruising 2-0 and the Tampa Bay Rowdies were on the ball, pressuring, pushing more numbers forward, starting to get more chances. Now the end product different than what you saw in that game. Quality of chances escaped this team all night long for Danny Cruz and Lou City. And yet, the belief. Reminder, every single year since 2015, this team has gone to at least the Eastern Conference final. Seen it all, done it all. And those 2 stars above gave them the belief that from the dead ball, from the spot, no matter the location, they had the ability to get back into this game. They did it. You go into OT, you look around, Lynn family, all your friends, all of the frightening situations that have been put in front of you tonight, and yet we're still talking the same rhetoric that we do every single season. Lou City back to the Eastern Conference final. And a lot of it has to be because of that man right there. Danny Fondez, hats off, my man.
He is the Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match. Dev, let's say we extended the voting for this.
Yeah, a little bit. The polls stay open a little bit longer than we expected. But hey, I'll tell you what, coming into the game, I said to you, Louisville needed to score early or they were in trouble. And guess what? They were in trouble. At the 80-minute mark, Pittsburgh were looking real nice. They did everything that they needed to. But Bob Lilly said all season long, we have yet to see our team at its best in a full game. Unfortunately for them, that comment is going to be the utter demise that they're going to have to think about for a long period of time and start their offseason a little bit earlier than they would have liked.
The move of the game is the move that ended the game. Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Why not? And the one that kept the hopes alive earlier this season, the youngster Josh Winder, to send them into Open Cup and continue moving forth against St. Louis City too. Sure, let's add another mixture to the young one on the wall, and Carlos Mogul Jr. from the spot. It is amazing the amount of responsibility that this organization places with their young players. Josh Winder, Elijah Winder, Carlos Mogul Jr. We saw with Jonathan Gomez as well before his departure. They trust the system, they trust the process, they believe in their players, and that belief has pushed them not just to the 1 seed in the East, but to another Eastern Conference final with 901 FC and the Tampa Bay Rowdies waiting in the wings.
The USL Championship playoffs are presented by Hisense. There's a look at the Eastern Conference Memphis and Tampa Bay should be finishing right now. Alas, weather inclement in Memphis. The Rowdies and Memphis will meet tomorrow, 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and you'll see it live on ESPN+. Thanks for watching the postgame presented by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety. Tonight's final score is brought to you by Gorski Law Office. In penalties, Pittsburgh, they had their chances. Surely they feel this got away out of their control, but alas, it's Louisville as ever on to the conference final. For Devin Kerr and our entire team led by Eric Falero and Gage Tillotson, Mike Watts saying we'll see you next Saturday night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.